Fat chicks have way more complications. They have a harder time getting pregnant. So if a traditional man wants children, he can't pick a fat chick. They're like, okay, if she's already chubby in her 20s, then I have a lifetime of, you know.
But like, go churn butter. Get back to the kitchen. Like, why are you on TikTok? You harlot. Like, you're a modern woman. Like, what are you doing?
No, his slaves actually, like, he had a really good relationship with them, and they considered him like a dad. I used to read actual slave.
Ugh! I remember this happening in real time. It still freaks me out. Such a stupid thing to say. Dude, you said that to a black person, too.
If my son came home from school one day and said to me, look, Mum, I'll be honest with you, I think I'm gay, I would take it on. I'd be open.
What if your son came home and said, I think I'm black?
Huh? That's the level of argumentation we're on? Friend of the show, Aubrey, did an absolute roasting of Just Girly Things, Just Pearly. God damn it, I always her name. Just Pearly Things. The internet's favorite pick me. And he called it the unpickable pick me. What a title. What a title. Let's take a look. Let's dive right into it. I've been waiting for this. I mean, he makes amazing videos. Aubrey does. This video will go crazy hard, I suspect. Let's do it.
Right, Pearl, you'd be called the female Andrew Tate. How do you plead?
Well, I take it as a compliment.
People think I'm insane because I don't think women should vote.
I had this realization. The men are smarter and better at everything.
Women have been told what we want to hear our whole lives.
From a historical perspective, women are pretty bad.
Yeah. Aubrey's videos have insane soundtracks in them. And it goes hard when you're roasting Just Pearly Things. And it's a little wild when it's like about, I don't know, like a pedophile YouTuber. But it still goes hard nonetheless. Sometimes perhaps too hard.
When you search the word pearl on Google, you get the definition of a small, glistening sphere formed within the crystalline shell of an oyster, highly regarded for its beauty and rarity as a jewel. But if you search pearl on YouTube, you get this.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about why women are dumb. How
Flashbang!
women realize that the only way we can be great at things is under the authority of a man.
Just Pearly Things is a 26-year-old YouTuber, TikToker, and social commentator with a knack for anti-Semitism who isn't afraid to give her opinion on the appearances of teenage girls.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Just Pearly Things has done a lot for women, okay? She's shown that, you know, you don't have to be attractive to be a conservative commentator, okay? You don't. You just simply don't have to. And for that, I think she's a bold, revolutionary feminist, okay? You can be hurt looking, okay? Turns out conservatives, they've moved past objectification of women, okay? They have. They've done that. They're woke now. Turns out.
All in an effort to promote the red pill, a community I pray will one day fade into deep obscurity.
My husband's texting me. He wanted me to tell you that we will have our daughter ready for you as a virgin.
These influencers alongside Pearl can be recently...
Dude, this shit is like, I assume it's all memes, right? Like, I'm so fucking removed from that kind of stuff. I don't look at it. I don't ever want to see it. But every single time I see it, I'm like, well, jail. It should be a jailable offense. I think free speech is actually ridiculous. Like, so what is it? Like, I know there's a lot of perverts in here that watch that kind of shit because they love it. They can't get enough of it. What's up? It's a joke, right? Like, they're not being serious. I mean, it's like one of those gross-ass things where it's like, even as a meme, it doesn't really work. It's like, what are you fucking trying to joke about? But...
seen advocating against the 19th Amendment.
I don't think women should vote. Huh? I don't think women should vote.
Lord Jesus, keep on going.
Making bold claims about what women really want.
I swear to God, this show has made me believe I think women like to be cheated on.
And pushing to criminalize a person's legal option to get divorced.
Oh, actually, I think we should ban divorce too. Yeah, I think that should be banned. Yes.
Okay, well, that's a little bit silly. You have to acknowledge that, right?
No.
Something you'll hear these people often espouse is that women are expected to adhere to a very strict set of arbitrary guidelines in order to be considered desirable or high value. This is a notion Pearl subscribes to as well. Only the difference between Pearl and her contemporaries is that she, if you haven't noticed, is a woman. A token of femininity floating across a vast sea of testosterone, yearning desperately for a crumb of credibility, even if it means existing only to attack and demean her own group. Which is a long way of saying Pearl isn't like the other girls, because she's worse.
And let's just be honest, we're basically like big kids, right? That can just be propagated and like you can push us to do things.
By feeding into the delusions and biases of the most annoying people on the planet, Pearl gets to go viral on Twitter, book primetime television interviews, sell painfully uncreative merch, and produce some of the laziest, most unedited content I've seen in my life.
Huh?
Maybe you guys.
Eat me up the cooker. Flashbang. What is she doing?
I can't find it.
Maybe she genuinely sees her work as an act of good. Or maybe it's possible that Pearl is only doing all of this to feel a sense of pride and acceptance that she herself has never received. Because believe it or not, Pearl wasn't always like this. Before all the hate and desperation that plagues her image today, Pearl's life actually seemed far less polarizing just a couple years ago.
Hey guys, today I am here with my sister Eva, and she is going to give a chicken coop tour.
I mean, this assessment is always going to be a timeless one. It's that, like, if you're a lady online and you have no fucking personality and you can't make it by, you know, having a personality, being cool, or having like a cool skill set, you can always hit that fucking grift button. It's called grift maxing, okay? Grift maxing. You can always be a conservative. They are so fucking desperate for anyone to present their psychotic, twisted, broken worldview. They will literally, you don't have to be hot, as JustPearlyThings is showing. You don't have to be smart, as JustPearlyThings is showing. You don't have to have anything. You just need to say the words. Dave Rubin showed this as well. Like, you don't have to be charismatic, funny, smart, well thought out. All you need to do is just say the fucking words. Half the time, you don't even have to actually believe the things they're saying. Dave Rubin is a woman. No, man. Dave Rubin is a dumbass who is not entertaining at all, but he was able to literally ride the coattails of Jordan B. Peterson, go on the Joe Rogan Experience multiple times, and develop like some level of viability in the space by just simply saying the things. Okay? That's all it takes.
I don't need no validation. I don't need no validation.
Okay, you don't need no validation.
Except from TikTok.
A lot of you guys have been asking questions. So I kind of ended up being like a full-time TikTok, like YouTuber by accident.
I can't actually show you any of Pearl's original TikToks because her first account was banned, along with her second account, her third account, her fourth, fifth. Yeah, you get it. Pearl gets banned a lot.
2 years of work, 930,000 followers, and I have been officially banned. I got banned off of TikTok. I got banned. They banned account number 3, but you can't get rid of me, baby. You can't get rid of me, baby. Account number 4. I still got banned. Free JustPearlyThings. Give me my account back.
In fact, Pearl is now on her 8th TikTok attempt, at least at the time of me recording this. Maybe when this vid finally comes out, she'll be on her 9th. I mean, God knows it wouldn't be surprising. But as sad as I am to be missing out on what I'm sure is some valuable content.
So I said, you're a
This is like when art school rejected Hitler. I've been banned a lot on TikTok too, let's be real.
whale. You're a whale. You're a whale. You could say maybe the whale was too far. But she was a bigger woman.
We can still get a good idea of what Pearl was like in 2020 by turning over to her YouTube channel, where she's attained close to 2 million subscribers and over 900 million total views just over the past 2 years. Of course, most of those views aren't totally meaningful considering they're from YouTube Shorts, which rarely translate over to active subscribers or substantial ad revenue, but we'll discuss all.
Yeah, that's the biggest fucking con, is that like YouTube Shorts is a fast track to like blow up your fucking to absolutely blow up your subscription account, your overarching viewer number, you know, your viewer count goes up. But like if you ask a normal person, I don't think that more people would know who the fuck JustPearlyThings is in comparison to someone like myself who has a smaller YouTube channel in comparison and a much smaller TikTok in comparison. But like it's all manufactured hype that doesn't translate to like any kind of real world analytics.
All that in a bit. It's true that Pearl owes much of her notoriety to the likes of Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit, who she has collaborated with on a number of occasions during her tenure in the Red Pill community, podcasting alongside inebriated sex workers, sex traffickers, and Nazis.
Welcome, Nick Fuentes.
But when we look back on some of her earliest uploads, we can see Pearl was actually once pretty far removed from the characters who make up the manosphere. In fact, I doubt she even knew who any of them were back when she was making things like My First Vlog, A Trip to Florida, Chicken Coop Tour, wrong spelling, and Mansion House Tour, 10 bedrooms.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you the front of the house.
See, Pearl herself comes from a very wealthy, sheltered background in Chicago, with both of her parents, Dan and Jennifer Davis, being quite accomplished software engineers in their own right. Jennifer being listed as the former CEO of Davisware, a multi-million-dollar company the couple founded together. She's now
Naperville must end. They must stop Naperville. We as a society must get together and say no more to Naperville. No more Naperville. Okay? Sorry. It's done. It's over. Stop it.
now the CEO of another organization she founded, Be Exponential, which is described as an online community seeking to provide tangible and realistic advice to women and mothers, specifically in navigating parenthood or life as a whole. Their website...
Oh my God, if they knew that, like, JustPearlyThings is her fucking daughter, her job, she would have to file Chapter 11 tomorrow. Can you fucking imagine, dog? That's crazy. You should never talk about being a mother. You have objectively failed, okay? You have literally failed as a parent. Your spawn is so awful. Like, works every fucking day of the goddamn week, extra hard on fucking Mondays and Tuesdays to play a marginal role in making society worse. Oh my fucking God, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. Do people know that? Do people fucking know this? It's like Trump opening up a fucking business about like a consulting firm for how to run a casino. You know what I mean? It's like, no, that's a failure. You can't do that. You're not allowed.
Also mentions that Be Exponential was built by women for women, which is an interesting footnote considering the kinds of things Pearl has been known to advocate for as of recent. For instance, Pearl believes men solely built society by themselves. Therefore, it must be impossible for women to be oppressed because the men have already solved everything.
Men built the world for women to just shit on them.
Right.
This is what I mean. Like, she's not even fully there. Like, part of this, I've always wondered, like, if this is a grift or not, because, like, her heart's not in it. Like, she's not saying this shit with her chest, ever. She's always like, men built the world, I think. Like, I don't know. And I can't tell if it's because she's, like, fucking barred out the entire time, or if she's just, like, really fucking stupid, or, like, there is, like, a level of consciousness inside of her brain that's eating away at her very existence, like telling her, like, please stop doing this, like, at what cost? I know we're making some money right now, but please let's just stop doing it, please. Like, something has to be holding her back or something. I don't know, because it just sounds so weird.
World that they built a society that's safe. There's no wars. We have the police to protect us. When they talk about women being oppressed, it's wrong. It's not correct.
She doesn't actually believe men and women are equal. She's very open about this.
I think there's something evil about telling women
like I feel like this is an experiment, you know what I mean? To show to the world that like you literally don't have to try to make it in the conservative sphere as a viable commentator who makes money. Like all you need to do is just like sell your brain, sell your soul to the devil, drop everything. You don't even have to mask the fascism anymore. Yeah, 100%. You could just like be an absolute fucking idiot and just say the words. The words that they desperately want to hear. That's it. It doesn't even have to be particularly clever. That's also another reason why debates are fucking stupid. Oh shit. What are you doing? Oh, scared me. Debates are fucking stupid because like Ethan ethered her and it's not like she stopped. Ethan fucking destroyed her with not much effort really. And it didn't matter. She still got prominence. She's only doubled down on the stupidity. She's tripled down. She did the like, why can't we ask questions about the Jew shit? Went on Piers Morgan's show and has only gotten more successful.
And we're equal to men because it demasculates the men and it harms the women too because it takes away the one thing we need, which is guidance. The more I think, the more I'm like, gosh, the natural world order has to be men, women, children. Maybe government, I haven't decided, I have to think more about that one. The men we reproduce with must be superior because they create everything important. It doesn't seem like we really do much if we don't follow the natural order of the world and we're left to our own devices. So maybe I'm just a sexist. Are my eyebrows good, guys?
So there's no reason for them to have equal roles in society, I guess. In fact, Pro believes women tend to do more damage by being in the workforce.
Whenever we take over an industry, we just like ruin it. It's so sad. We'll like...
Bro, exactly, which is why you should stop doing commentary. You have ruined at least one industry. An industry that I'm a part of. Honestly, please take your own fucking advice and just go and leave. Okay, leave.
Like, base everything off our feelings and like add an HR department, take away the competitiveness of industries. In the last 100 years, women have really taken over education. And you know what happened when we took over education? Everyone got dumber. Now they have a teacher and a teacher's aide. 2 women.
Okay, on the one hand, obviously that's not true, like the education and people getting dumber. But on the other hand, you know, she does have a lot of followers, so maybe we are getting dumber. But maybe not because of women, or maybe it's because of her. She's doing the woman making everybody dumb. I don't know. She might be the woman responsible single-handedly for making people dumber. Just kidding. That would mean that she has any sort of prominence when she doesn't, okay?
Women cannot teach the way one man used to teach. That's how bad it is.
That's why I don't think therapy works when they're women. Like, women are just going to comfort you. They're going to tell you what you want to hear, where men will tell you how to fix it. But the problem is, like, women, we never want to fix it. Like, actually fix it.
Yeah, maybe ban women from the police force. If women's jobs disappeared tomorrow, society would probably be fine. But if men's jobs disappeared tomorrow, it would be rough out there.
Yet here is her own mom, essentially proving her wrong, having built up
areas most dominated by men, CEOs. Areas most dominated by women, nurses and teachers. Literally like, nah, I disagree. Straight up. If women cease to exist in the workforce, you would basically destroy nursing. You would destroy many different parts of healthcare, not just nursing, as a matter of fact. Like, there's now more doctors, more female doctors than male doctors, too. But whereas, like, if you fucking eliminated areas where, like, it's heavily male dominant, yeah, sure, construction and whatnot. There's plenty of other fields that are male dominant. In order to fucking make a joke, I'm going to say CEOs. Tell me, who's more valuable to society, CEOs or teachers and nurses? Yes, I'm petting Kaya. I'm always petting Kaya.
Up a number of successful organizations, written a best-selling book, and still managed to look after and provide for 10 children all at once. Though Pearl has also attempted to weirdly diminish her mother's accomplishments and role in the company, insisting she was never the CEO, despite Jennifer's website claiming the opposite. She may have also accidentally admitted to her parents committing fraud, but that's besides the point.
Wasn't your mom the president? Was she the leader of the company?
What was you're researching my family now, huh? They might have titled it one thing or another. They did that to get some grant from the government or something. I don't remember. But
So, is that a crime?
Yeah, you probably shouldn't say that on air.
The main takeaway here is that Pearl got to experience a lavish childhood as a result of her parents both having high-paying jobs. In fact, one of the times Pearl first blew up was thanks to a TikTok she made about a giant water slide her dad bought her and her siblings. Yeah, some people just live a completely different life than the rest of us. Now I know why she thinks a Lamborghini costs 50.
What? No, dude. Come on, dude. Come on! Fuck!
$50,000. But this was Pearl's first taste of online stardom. A glimpse into a life where she didn't have to work a corporate job with Konica Minolta.
I'm losing. I'm fucking giving away every dollar I have before I have children. There's no shot. Okay? There's no shot. You can't. Your next of kin is has a 100% fail rating if you have money, okay? If you live a comfortable life, to be fair, I did grow up in a comfortable way. So even though my father did lose all of his money by the time I got to college, but still, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's fucking nuts, dude. It's so sad. I guess they have 11 kids or something. What are they, fucking Mormon? What's going on there? Don't let those stacks corrupt you. You got horses, bro? Yes, I grew up very affluent. This is not something horse is. No, I have a horse, even though that is also still incredibly and profoundly expensive. But my father lost all of the fucking money by the time I got to adulthood, and also made some mistakes on his end at least, which was that he sent me to public school in Turkey. Almost immediately fucking caused me to understand income and wealth disparity. Like in that very moment, as a child, something opened up in my brain. Wasn't public school the nicer one in Turkey, though? No, not in middle school.
Selling printers, a position she absolutely hated.
And it was literally the worst sales job of my life. I hated it. I hated it so much.
But if she had never sold printers, we never would have gotten these wonderful song parodies she posted a link to.
It's saying it's not gonna rain. My weather app never lies. Yeah.
We just took a DNA test, turns out we're 100% the best, even when we're going crazy, cause we do see problems, that's the human in us. Blame.
No, there's something worse than just I never thought that I would see something worse than what I've already seen from this woman, okay? I've seen her say the most unhinged, dumbass shit, okay? I've seen her do the why can't we ask questions about Jews song parody that she did? And I did not realize that there was something worse out there. I can't believe it. I'd never realized there was something worse than that. There's more? Please stop. No, there isn't.
Then we solve them, that's the salesman in us.
I'm starting to see why she hated working there.
You should call me on my work phone all day when you need a printer. Call me on my work phone all day when you need a printer. And I know when that work phone rings.
Yeah, COVID was a weird time for all of us. I'll just say that.
My name is Pearl from Konica. I'll help you save till I can't no more. We got the printers in the back.
It's still better than her recent music.
Feminism is the worst thing ever. Yeah, we get our money. Yeah, we get our job. Yeah, we dumped our high school heartthrob. But then we end up alone on antidepressants. all alone.
Pearl spent much of her pre-internet days playing sports, boasting about how she was a 3-sport athlete in college. In fact, her original plan was to join a program that would allow her to move to Europe and play basketball while completing a master's degree, until the program fell through, leaving her more time to post on TikTok. This is how she accidentally became a full-time influencer.
Then the season gets canceled again, so I'm just like kind of left like with no job.
I don't want to run the top of the hour ad break yet because absolutely 0 people are going to subscribe here, okay? If I say at the top of the hour there's a 3-minute ad break, I feel like every single one of my subscribers are going to unsubscribe so they can see the 3-minute ad break. They're like, no, anything but watching this. Anything but watching this. Please give me the most ridiculous, like, join the Navy. I swear you can do fun gay stuff. It's like a gay cruise ad. Please serve it to me is what the collective response is. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Job, no real plan, and just like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do next, but I'm gonna take you guys with me. You'll see what happens.
Something that immediately stood out to me when I was first watching these older videos is how differently Pearl carries herself here compared to now. Trading in her Lakers hoodies and sweatpants for more of a trad wife look that these red pill.
Thank you, Deus Ex Rakinia, or should I say fuck you, Deus Ex Rakinia, for allowing 5 people to continue seeing Just Pearly Things.
Guys go for, maybe? These are all just my own observations, of course, but I can't help but think I'm watching 2 different people here.
I blew up on TikTok because I was really blessed because my parents just have like really cool stuff. My dad's like nuts, so he bought this like big water slide from a water park, and I just told the story of how the town didn't want him to put him up.
I think the women are dumber than the men because I think our emotions
Red CXY, thank you for the 10 gift of subs, or should I say fuck you for the 10 gift of subs.
just get in the way. We're too emotional. We see a problem, we get emotional about it, where the men can just think.
Maybe she's just not as passionate about the stuff she talks about today.
I haven't seen you talk to an actual scholar once. You just talk to kind of random women.
Half note the bar, thank you for the 5.
I mean, that's fair to say. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say you talk to feminists, you just mean like random women off the street, not like a scholar.
That's say they're feminists.
I mean, after all, this really isn't her forte. Unlike Andrew Tate, Pearl hasn't quite dedicated decades of her life to misogyny just yet. She only picked it up recently.
She's smart enough to convey that women are dumb.
When I first started watching Red Pill content, I didn't always like it, guys. They're saying girls are whores, we're fat, and we bring basically nothing to the table.
And then she was like, but what if I said those things myself? And then I loved the Red Pill content.
Nowadays. But the more I listened to the content and really thought about my experience in the world, I couldn't really say that they were wrong.
According to one article I found from 2020, Pearl was first gaining traction on TikTok after just several months of creating her account. Her initial claim to fame being her breakup quiz series, in which she wrote a bunch of questions that viewers could then send to their ex-partners to fill out for Pearl to post publicly. And it was pretty successful too, posting the best answers from a pool of nearly 9,000.
Bro, that's like legit fucking creative. God, there was a point in time in her mind where she was like, let me do this thing in a creative way. You know what I mean? Let me actually try to be creative and unique and make like decent content. And then she was like, nah, fuck that, dude.
Submissions. Telling Yahoo, I try to post the most appropriate ones. I know there are kids on this app, so the bigger I get, the more I try to keep it PG. Damn, I wonder when she stopped caring about that.
What if you've only had one partner, but you had 10 abortions, you were a stripper, and you had OnlyFans? Whore, not a whore.
This article, though, also
so
makes sure
heavy.
to note
I'm
that
trying to
Pearl
pick her up. I
herself has
can't.
yet to send the quiz to anyone in her past, considering she's never actually been in a real relationship. Pearl stating, I actually have not had a boyfriend that was serious enough for me to send it to, hence why I had my followers take it. The only long-term relationship I can think of is a guy I talked to for a couple years in college, which in itself is totally fine and normal. Everyone moves at their own pace, and there's no shame in dating later in life. Except Pearl might slightly disagree.
Just because you're 35 and you're single doesn't mean you'll be single at 40, at 60, at 70.
Well, but the problem is at 35, you've lost all the things that men value. That's the problem, because men value femininity, fertility, and they value youth. So you can't say you're youthful when you're almost halfway through your life. Like, you can't say you're fertile when you're about to have geriatric pregnancy. So it's like, and you look worse than you did at 25, right? So the way you're thinking is like a woman.
Not to mention, it's almost been 3 years since this article was published, and to my knowledge, Pearl still has yet to be in an actual long-term relationship. Though there was the time she briefly dated the angry TikTok reaction guy, not for very long. Her ex-best friend of 22 years, Emily, says that despite her brief time with angry reactions, Pearl has still never had a serious relationship.
Has she ever been engaged?
No, never. And she's never even been in a serious relationship. Like, honest to God, her and Wanye, like, that wasn't even that doesn't even count at all, because what was that?
And that's where we run into a bit of a problem. Pearl, as someone who has evidently never been married, never been engaged, never even held down a boyfriend longer than a few months, still somehow has the nerve to tell other women what to do in their relationships. Publicly. It's her job to do that. A huge part of her brand relies on judging other people's...
Yeah, because her audience is not women. Her audience is men. And it's not even men that are in relationships. Her audience is men who will also, just like her, never be in a relationship with a woman. That's it. It's like, it's perfect. It's like this perfect chamber. Kaya, no. Okay, there you go. Lay down. But it's gone. Those days are long gone. She wants to lay on the ground next to my foot and never on top of me like she used to. It's crazy that I am officially becoming too small for my dog.
Marriages from afar. Pearl likes the idea of being married. She wants a family someday and wants to have kids. But does that by itself mean she's a reliable source on how a marriage needs to work? What exactly gives her the right to tell others how they're doing things wrong when she herself hasn't even experienced a relationship the way she thinks she wants it? Pearl's relationship advice might as well be completely fucking discarded, even by her own metric.
I've noticed a lot of therapists are like older single women, and I'm kind of like, if you can't maintain a relationship, why would I take advice from you? This is just something I've noticed. Yeah, like, why would I take advice from you if you can't maintain a relationship?
As Pearl continued to solidify her position in the dating community on TikTok, she eventually discovered a man named Kevin Samuels, another influencer who rose to prominence around this time for his videos on relationships, which were a tad bit on the controversial side.
But if you have made it to 35 years old and you're unmarried, you are a leftover woman.
It's cheating when you do it. You're cheating. We don't. We just have sex. Women like you die alone.
Okay, maybe a bit on the controversial side. But this is who introduced Pearl to the red pill, name dropping him in a video for the first time in 2021, where she discussed several of his beliefs, specifically his philosophy on cheating.
Look into your heart, ask yourself what really matters, and then tell me you'd rather watch Pearly Things clips for another hour instead of becoming a Night City legend. I mean, as much as I want, he died. You didn't know he died? Kevin Samuels died very publicly. I think I think he literally died having sex with a woman. You know, he died doing what he loved, I think, technically, which was, I mean, I guess he wasn't shitting on the woman that he was having sex with.
People cheat, right? Obviously, if you have more opportunity to cheat, you're more likely to do it. But it's just weird to me because when I grew up, like, my dad was never like that.
See, a lot of this stuff was extremely foreign to Pearl, given that her dad never fit the mold Kevin Samuels often talked about in referencing men. Her dad never drank, never smoked, never cheated, so this kind of rhetoric coming from the manosphere was like a glimpse into a whole new world, one that Pearl was clearly willing to explore. This video in particular may seem from the title that she's challenging Kevin's beliefs, but she more so just kind of says a bunch of words for 5 minutes.
I think a lot of people cheat because of like situations that they put themselves in. So I don't know if that's like a disagreement or what.
In my notes for this one, I just wrote down, "Goddamn, she rambles. She doesn't even make much of a point here, LMAO."
Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense. I'm half paying attention to driving, half paying attention to you guys.
To further acquaint herself with this community, she very much began consuming as much of their content as she could, listening to their arguments and regurgitating their talking points on her own platforms.
Okay, fourth thing I've learned from the manosphere, And I'm not going to talk about if this is true or not true. Women are always willing to leave you for a better option. Women today are less marriageable than ever before. Like, women can and will take all of your money. Women will do things like withhold sex if they don't do like chores or something.
She was so excited to share what she had learned, in fact, that she even brought her family into the mix, which had some varying results.
Today, I have a special guest on the channel, my little sister, Amelia. She's super excited to be here. I'm going to be showing her some of Kevin Samuel's savage moments because she was not willing to sit down for a full clip, so.
Yeah, her sister does not give even a single fuck. Just please let her go.
Do you think women get upset at men a lot? Depends. Do you think they say things like men are trash a lot? Do you think that's okay?
Sometimes.
Really?
Depends on the guy you're talking about.
Do you think, but in general, do you think that's okay? Like, men are trash, like just in general?
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that kind of stuff.
I mean, sitting your 13-year-old sister down in front of a laptop and forcing her to
watch red pill shit while she's like the most normal person reacting to this shit. This is so good because it's like, that should be a wake-up moment, okay? That should be a wake-up moment for Just Pearly Things and people that even watch this kind of content, okay? Because it's like, the reality of the situation is like, to the average person, they're like, what? Why? What is your agenda? Like, why do you give a shit about this? You know what I mean? This is also part of the reason why I don't react the same way that I do to like some random fucking person in the chat, to people that I talk to in the real world, okay? Because if I were to do that, if I were to react that way in the real world to like normal human beings around me, everyone would go, dog, you are crazy. You're like a crazy person. No one behaves that way, okay?
Watch fresh and fit is bad enough.
They're kind of players a little bit. You ready? Stop looking like I'm torturing you.
Why the hell are you gonna pay full price for a goddamn car that's been used? If I'm gonna invest into you, I need to know you are not used, man.
What does your YouTube feed look like on a daily basis?
It literally looks like this stuff. It's like men's dating advice.
You are so single. Someone had to say it.
But why are you also exposing her to the repulsion that is your community? I mean, these comments are insane. She has no life in her. She's gonna do hard drugs when she gets old.
Yeah, it's like, the only thing that this does is basically stop people from ending it, okay? Like, there are so many people online that just like hang on by a thread, and they're just so angry all the time, and they're like, maybe I can spread my anger and hatred to like one other person and ruin their day, and then that'll stop me, okay? And that's what this is, straight up. Okay, Jesus Christ, son, I know, man, I know. Every time I say this shit, people get so fucking butthurt. Like, it is literally, you are not this angry. You can't be this angry unless you are literally on the verge, okay? I'm sorry. Like, a person with a random fucking YouTube account that looks at a 13-year-old girl reacting to red pill shit in the most normal way that you would, making this assessment, is the type of person that is on the verge of killing themselves, okay? There's nothing else working there. You cannot be filled to the brim with that much hatred to be able to churn out that kind of fucking horrifying perspective, okay? Like, the horrifying fucking takes that this normal 13-year-old is reacting to your fucking dog shit ass content and not have like literal severe problems. Okay? It's nuts. And by the way, I think a lot of people get fucking very frustrated when I say stuff like this in this community because you see yourself in that person, because you might have maybe been that person a while ago. But clearly there is a way outside of that ecosystem, that echo chamber rather, okay? There's a way outside of it, okay? And that revolves around just no longer being this human being, a manifestation of all things awful. You saved me for sure. Look at my first post in this chat. Okay, now I want to look at it. Holy fuck, dude. You've been in here for 27 months. I want to know what the fucking first post ever was now. How do we even get there? How do we even scroll that far up? Damn, motherfucker, you post a lot, dude. My gay ass will be at the Pride Parade tomorrow. Click middle mouse. Okay, we're almost there. All right, this is probably easier. Let's see. Username is what? Oh my God. First 2011. Hi Hasanabi, hi chat. You just brainwash a bunch of people, and if they invest in GME and lose, it's on you. Hedge funds have covered. Probably ruined a lot of people's lives. You're a fucking idiot. This is fucking manipulation you're doing right now. Hedge funds have already covered this. I will fucking report you to the SEC, you idiot. Literally everyone was buying, so anyone short could have covered at any time. I'm so frustrated with you as a streamer trying to pretend you can commentate on this. Please talk to someone who knows what they're fucking talking about. Ever heard of BSA? It's just an example of why financial information is publicly available and why the stock market is the most heavily regulated industry in the fucking world. Operational requirements, truth. I'm all in favor of retail baiting hedge funds. He is literally saying they didn't have enough money to settle the trades. This is such bullshit. This guy also changed sides like crazy. The CNBC analysts are a joke. I made 500 today in a few minutes. I'm good. That was a good call. Oh my God, this was like a stock Andy. I just spent 10K getting my husband over to the US only at the green card stage, and now they are gonna make it easier. Oof, but pog. And then gifted a bunch of people. I think you might have helped me most during my life. I'm a weird dude. Good worker, yes, man. Wait, what the fuck? Doesn't make any sense. You're all over the place. I thought you were going to be like, yo, fuck you. You're a piece of shit. It's bottom to top. Okay, but it's on the same day. Going from you just brainwash people to like gifted subs. That's the quickest turnaround. He went from how he was going to report me to the SEC for stock manipulation. I get drunk and gift subs because life is meaningless. At the end of the day, nothing matters. Oh my God. Does this guy just shit on everything? What's his issue? These are movies. Yeah, I manipulated him into liking me. Why is talking about raising minimum wage to $15? Don't lose your frame. Okay, this wasn't as like interesting as I thought it was going to be. Never do this to me. It's all good. Well, I'm glad that you're more normal now. Write more normally. Skip the GME stuff, Sag. I am normal and can be trusted with a gifted sub? No. I feel like the stock guy is more interesting. The weirdo right-wing haters are a dime a dozen. Weirdo right-wing guy, like hater to like actual person whose opinion changed is my favorite thing. Because like that's the goal. Or at least at a certain point in time, I legitimately thought that even if haters came in here, they would be like more open-minded and realize that I'm not the fucking villain that they that everyone has portrayed me as in their circles. But now I realize that's not the case. They will never be fucking charitable because like they have no comprehension of the things that I'm saying. It's kind of odd. Like it's a very weird circumstance because like it's the type of dude who literally will come in here and will be like, wow, seems like you're not watching the Just Pearly Things video again. Are you avoiding it? And I'm like, well, I'm just watching it right now. Like, look at the screen. Or, Hasan, why are you defending the Just Pearly Things situation? It's like they can't respond to whatever the fuck's going on in front of them. I just pulled my own logs. One of my first messages, I'm pro-crime and pro-baby murder. Haven't changed in 3 years. Anyway, let's continue.
Comments are insane. She has no life in her. She's gonna do hard drugs when she gets older. She for sure is not attracting anyone in life. She will die alone. I'm not sure if she's strictly heterosexual. Your sister is clueless. Like, no man, she's just a teenager who doesn't want to watch Kevin Samuels videos at 2 in the morning. Is that so unreasonable?
So that was Kevin Samuels. What did you think? Did you think what he said was true or false?
I don't know.
If I tried showing my little sister some of Pearl's videos, I think she'd deck me in the face.
I prefer Kevin Samuels to Fresh and Fit.
I prefer,
She and her sister's like Hasan and us, Lamau. No, it's like if I showed Marat some of these fucking freaks, except like Marat loves the freaks just like I do. Marat's in like Facebook groups and he like actually also lives with those freaks and does stuff, you know what I mean? Because he has like a lot of hog adjacent hobbies like off-roading and biking and things of that nature, and he still is on Facebook too. So it's like he operates in that realm and he loves showing me shit. Like he was a firefighter, you know what I mean? He loves showing me shit from Facebook. Like, look at these guys. We call one of the groups he's in motorcycles and misogyny, because it's just a bunch of old divorced men posting photos of motorcycles and just like women with giant tits. It's like it's literally just like old ass dudes in a Facebook group posting like, like they make like trans jokes but about transmission, you know what I mean? Not like gender, Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's like that type of shit. Like they're above the culture war in some ways because they're that normie coded. Does that make sense? Like they have here, I'll give you another example. Okay, so these are dual sport guys, right? And they'll be like, yeah, we like to say ACAB, AQAB. All quads are bastards. Like they shit on quads. Like they shit on fucking ATVs. That's their fun. That's their fun, dude. That they love having fun. It's awesome.
Minecraft YouTubers.
Watching Pearl try to get regular people on board with her new belief system is truly a sight to behold.
A girl will only love a guy like that's like the best she can get. But if she has a better option, like that makes more money, is more attractive, is like just a better all-around option, she'll leave her current like boyfriend or husband for them. Oh.
I mean, just here you can tell her friend isn't nearly as invested in this conversation.
Those people have a lot of fun while I'm miserable talking about politics all day. Exactly. Like in those groups, I'm sure the overwhelming majority are like right-wing, right? Or have like a lot of right-wing beliefs. Many of you would consider them to be out and about fascists even, right? But if you were to go into a group like that and start talking about like politics exclusively, everyone else would be like, all right, buddy, like fucking calm down. Okay? Like it's that type of shit. Even though they are like probably very right-wing Trump supporters or whatever, but that group is a special group. That is not for Trump posting, okay? That's for posting about big tits and women around motorcycles, okay? Big tittied women around motorcycles.
As Pearl is.
Basically, the candy store analogy is like sex is candy, and girls get it right away. But most guys, you don't have access to sex till their late 20s, early 30s. Okay. So if you get married like before that, they think that like girls should put up with cheating, basically. I know. Because like it's not fair to the guys, because like now at 35 they finally put out their money right, they got to the gym for 5 years, did all this stuff. Now they get to have sex with a lot of people. So why would they only settle for one?
Well, then why did they get married?
Come on, candy store analogy? If you tried saying that to any person who doesn't frequent incel forums on 4chan, you're gonna sound insane. When you have to keep telling your friend not to read any of what the chat is saying on your own live stream, you know you're cultivating a really awesome fan base.
You can't read the comments. Yeah, you can't read the comments too. Like, you can't. Oh.
Which, of course, has only gotten better with time. 73% of these people don't think gay people should adopt.
31,000 people voted for this? Oh my God. People need to do things in their lives, okay? It's just like so fucking whack. 21,000 votes for this one.
76% think trans people should be institutionalized? I mean, what the fuck are these questions, Pearl? It's no surprise that when you confront someone in the real world with these kinds of talking points, you don't get much of a positive response.
Are women really that smart?
We're all equal.
Oh, you think we're equal? I think the men are smarter.
That's so dumb. Why would you go to a fucking New Jersey mall and like go... Yeah, if you go to a New Jersey mall and find the most hog-coated dudes, they're still going to be like, I love my wife. Fuck you.
Hell, Pearl has lost lifelong friendships over these takes. Her ex-best friend we mentioned earlier, Emily, being amongst the most vocal after Pearl publicly lied about her being too fat to get pregnant.
So Hannah and I were friends from 2002, pre-K, until last year when I stopped being friends with her. So in the beginning of her video, she's talking about our last conversation we had a year ago in March, where I confronted her about talking about women's bodies and their weight and all that cuckoo bird shit she talks about. And I was like, are you okay? Are you okay? And no, she defended it all. So I was like, okay, we're done. I'm sorry.
I mean, these two were close friends. There's no disputing it. Pearl is deluding herself to the point that it's affecting her personal life. Just like how Sneako's family didn't invite him to Christmas on account of his batshit opinions.
Do you know that this is the first year I'm not going home for Christmas? They don't, I have a blue hair, woke family, kind of like you. And
That's, yeah. Dude, that should genuinely make you reconsider your perspective, you fucking delusional weirdo loser. These are the people in your closest circle. These are people who are in your fucking family. Why are you using weirdo online debate language to describe your immediate relatives? I thought you were supposed to be some fucking conservative hero. God damn, these motherfuckers deserve the isolation, dog. They deserve the isolation that they get. I didn't even know this. I never thought that I would have such visceral hatred for this person more than I normally do for an individual online after finding out what their family did. Like, your family excommunicated you. And you're like, you'd rather post on fucking Twitter or whatever than, I don't know, fix your relationship with your family. The closest people on the fucking planet. You absolute fucking loser.
They don't fuck with my politics at all.
I mean, it doesn't take a blue hair people to not want to fuck with your politics. Like the
It's never got to the point. It's never got to the point where I've been like uninvited for Christmas.
I hate to break it to you, but normal people don't give so much of a shit about chronically online manosphere garbage, like whether or not women should give back their rights.
To be fair, before people go, oh, well, you know, some people excommunicate their children for being gay. Yeah, no shit. Like, there's a difference between that and a difference between your family being like, yeah, you're not coming to Christmas because, like, you got to cut this Hitler shit out, okay? Obviously, one is something you can't change about yourself. The other is definitely something you should change about yourself, okay? There are differences in being excommunicated by your fucking hog-ass family, okay?
In reality, these conversations are so inherently ridiculous and inconsequential compared to what the average American is dealing with. We're living in a country where 30 million people are without health insurance. Millions of already employed people are having to work multiple jobs just to put food on the table. Almost half the population can't even afford a decent home. I mean, you see how these conversations Pearl wants to have are kind of silly? And yeah, I get the irony of me sitting here making a video on her, but my brain is broken. So of course I'll indulge her arguments a little bit. I just want to be sure that we're keeping this whole mess in perspective, at least. Like, man, people are just trying to make it through the day. The last thing anyone wants to do is listen to JustPearlyThings tell them what age disqualifies women from finding a partner. Who cares? Also, asking this person about age probably isn't the best idea.
Yeah, Sneeko has videos of him dancing to remixes of Nazi propaganda songs. Even hogs would be discussed about that. Is 100% correct. You can have, like, the most Fox News brained, like, fucking Mexicans or rapist criminals coming over to the border to, like, rape our beautiful white women type motherfuckers out there. And even they would be like, oh, dude, what is this Nazi shit? Get the fuck out of here. That is, like, the major difference between, like, American racism and like, yeah, even Alex Jones hates Nazis. Man, literally. The average American conservative has politics that are, like, nearly adjacent to Nazis and will just hate Nazis inexplicably. We'll be like, no, ew, Nazis, I hate them. You mean the Democratic Party?
What the fuck was she cooking here?
Not that it's literally any excuse that she's doing this, because what she is doing, I can't even put into words how disgusting it is. But I've known her since 2002. I do not think she thinks that way. If she does, her all over again, I don't care. But I don't think she does. I think she does it to rev people up and to get more views and to get more money. So all that to say, I'm curious to see, once she does find a husband and find a man, is she gonna keep this act up? Because is she gonna find somebody that shares these exact views with her? Or is she gonna meet someone and be like, okay, I don't actually think this way.
According to both Emily and Angry Reactions, Pearl's bizarre obsession with churning out the most mind-numbing takes imaginable seemed to happen overnight.
Because a lot of people be in my comments be like, she had to have been like this when y'all was dating. Bro, no, she wasn't at all. She was not like this, bro.
I mean, we know she used to be normal-ish. What happened then? How do you go from making such innocuous vlogs with your family to outright pandering to the lowest form of men on Twitter with no shame? Well, without making any unreasonable assumptions here, we know from Emily that Pearl has been consistently fixated on finding a boyfriend in the past, staying up late into the night, and poring over all the numbers and information she could possibly find in hopes of finally attaining a high-value man of her liking.
It's honestly, like, sad, because she was always trying to figure out what could she do to get a husband. I always told her that she did too much research. She was always online, like, looking up relationship facts and stuff like that, and she would be up late like doing it. And I'm like, just
interesting.
stop. Yeah, just stop doing that. Like, let's just naturally look for a man.
Which again is fine. Everyone deserves to find love. Except I don't know how she expects to do it when this is how she advertises herself to the public. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know exactly why she pivoted so hard to red pill content. We simply don't know the definitive reason as to why she's so susceptible to the manosphere. And oh wait, there is a reason, and she said it herself? Oh, okay.
Or even girls still ask me, like, how can you listen to this man? And I have one answer for you. Low self-esteem.
Yeah, that's real. Her answer to the question, why do you listen to this sexist trash?
I mean, that's actually pretty, like, on the money as far as, like, Kevin Samuels' appeal to women. Because remember, Kevin Samuels had, like, a pretty large contingency of women that watched him as well. And they called in regularly. And he would just like shit on them so aggressively. I always found it odd, but you know, some women, you know, is the classic tweet. No, I don't support all women. Some of you are dumb as hell, you know? It's just, it happens.
Basically boils down to, oh, it's because I hate myself.
From a young age, I haven't thought highly of myself. I never thought that I deserved a lot, to be honest. I never thought of myself as a queen. And I never thought of myself super highly. I'm gonna just be honest here. From a young age, I was what you call humbled. Okay, most of my friends, right, were generally like more attractive than me. I was never the hot friend. Most guys, even the average guys, they would ask me about my friend first. And if that didn't work out, then they would come crawling to me. So,
bro, that's so sad. Like, yeah, this experience, should she be driving? Oh, I thought you meant because she like sounds like she's, you know, genuinely depressed and she's on the verge of some shit. And then I realized, no, you were making a joke. She should be driving as a woman. No, I realized, I get it. That was a double layered joke for me, I guess. I mean, there's plenty of people like this. I was like this, you know, what the fuck? This is the worst part about conversations like this. I swear to God, there's two ways out of it, okay? You either turn into me or you turn into fucking JustPearlyThings. All right? That's it. I was like this. That's why I care so much about self-improvement, okay? That's why. Because without all of that, without actually like, you know, putting one foot in front of the other and like constantly picking away at what otherwise felt like impossible to achieve goals, allowed me to get to the position that I'm in. Obviously, I was very fortunate too, and immediately a lot of people revert back to, well, you're 6'4". It's like, doesn't matter, dude. You've seen fucking photos of me when I was younger. Yeah, now Will is like this. How does that make you feel? Yeah, totally. My fucking shredded best friend who has been a theater kid since birth and who's incredibly charismatic is definitely the ugly duckling. That's such a funny take. No, he's farming you, brother. He might feel like that as well a little bit, but like ultimately he's wrong to say such a thing. He also has an incredible girlfriend, okay? Shut the fuck up. How do you fix being 5'6"? You know how you fix being 5'6"? Thinking that being 5'6" is going to destroy you for the rest of your life. That's how you fix it. Like, nobody's out here saying it's going to be the same for you as it is for someone who is, you know, my height. Okay? It's not. It's not. You know, you took a L on that a little bit, but it's fine. It's not something you can't fucking overcome. You know what I mean? It's a hurdle, but you can still go out and live Moss, okay? We're going to live Moss. This is Taco Bell. People like you, if people like you, they will lie to themselves about it. What? Lie to themselves about it? That's such a self-defeating way to approach that. What do you mean? I mean, Kai is fucking short, okay? Charlie is short. There's plenty of content creators, even in this space, that are like pretty short. And you would never ever feel that. You would never ever hear that from them as though it's like a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because the difference is they don't let that be a hang up for no reason. And people like you, they will like you, chatters you. Also, you know, Fucking wear shoes that make you look taller. Come on. I've talked about this so many times. My point was something entirely different, and you guys immediately, oh my God, fucking the short king to possible manlet equation is so alive and well in this chat right now, where immediately every conversation devolves into, well, I'm short. Like, dog, everyone can be a 7, okay? And let me tell you something. Let me tell you a little secret, okay? Women have incredibly low standards, dog. Like, so fucking low. The bar is not even inside of the earth. It is so far down that it popped up from the other side of the fucking planet, okay? You are so dumb if you think that, like, women are not going to immediately go for you if you just do a couple things right, okay? Don't be a fucking asshole. Don't be gross. Clean up. And like I always say, go to the gym, figure out what haircut works on top of your head, and figure out how to groom yourself like your face, okay? That's it. Basic care and, like, trying to improve yourself and being passionate about certain things, and specifically going to the fucking gym and, like, washing your body and grooming yourself appropriately goes such a goddamn long way. It's so fucking stupid. Also, don't give off the vibes that you want to fucking murder this person. That's it. Literally, that's it. Saying the bar is so low ain't helpful for those who can't get dates. I don't think you're saying what you think you're saying. No, I'm saying that it is absolutely possible. I know that if you're depressed, you look at a situation like this and you go, oh man, this shit sucks. And he's saying the bar is so low. Oh man, and I still can't get a date. Because you're not hearing the first part of what I'm saying, okay? I don't know, man. I've been rejected easily hundreds of times after following your advice. You telling me I just wasn't up to their standards, up to any of their standards? You definitely have not been following my advice. I was like this also, and then you saved me. I used to be a super conservative asshat. I was fat as fuck, 300 plus pounds at 6'4", and now I live daily. I'm 185 and able to openly be myself without really caring about what my family thinks, and that's all to you. That's all thanks to you. Fuck yeah, dude. There are so many people like this, by the way, in this community, especially, where like a lot of people have been able to you know, find a better version of themselves that they're confident in putting out there. Okay. I'm 4'3" and 300 pounds, and your tax dollars pay for my bag of fudge rounds. That's good. The recurring theme here is that none of your chatters have any confidence. Those who say they can do. Those who say they can't won't. They all talk mad shit about how they can't get dates, probably because they go talking around how they can't get dates. Brother, we're on Twitch. Of course, there's a lot of people who are agoraphobic in general that is here. This platform requires you to at least have, like, a lot of time that you know, have with yourself. Be able to pay attention. There's going to be stuff like that. It's fine. Everyone can be a 7. You will never be able to convince me that that's not the case, okay? For the record, one of the most important things I need to explain, your advice has actually really helped me, but it's leading me to watch less of the broadcast because I'm actually touching grass. It's fine. It's great. Listen to me, okay? Listen to me. We're going to do another edition of Chad Vice soon. Don't you fucking worry. Oh, women's standards, by the way. What is this? Hey there, you blue-collar stealers. You don't want mine. He poops for 47 minutes, and you're lucky if he doesn't send you a picture of it before he flushes. He sends me on regular beer runs and uses all my purple shampoo and conditioner. If he had to choose between me and fishing, he would choose the fish. He doesn't remember important dates or anniversaries. He hates cuddling and always wants to steal my pillow because it's better. Me explaining to the blue-collar man stealer he doesn't even cut his own toenails. All the blue-collar man stealers, mind poops for 30 minutes while scrolling Marketplace, pees on me in the shower, tracks dirt in my house daily, makes me wash his hair, only likes certain pairs of jeans for work, and probably talks shit about you. Wait, what? Why are all these ladies talking about how shitty their men are? Jesus Christ. The blue-collar man stealers take him, but he'll wake you up at 5 a.m. to find him undies and socks for the day, eats enough food in a day for a household of 5, will make you drive 7 hours to get something he found on Facebook Marketplace, and he's meaner than a 2-headed snake, and he'll pee on your leg in the shower. Why is every guy peeing on people's legs? I took your advice and finally asked a girl out, and she said yes, but then Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and I forgot that I asked her out, and I got a message from her saying how I ghosted her, and then she blocked me. Yeah, well, that's your fault. I do pee in the shower. I've just never peed on a person in the shower. Am I missing out? Anyway, I know we, like, deviated so far away from the original fucking original point of contention here, but yeah, I think one of the major issues in this community and overall online is a lack of confidence. People do not have confidence in themselves. And I think all of the things that you see online probably contribute to that in a negative way. You look at Instagram and you see only like sexy ass ladies and sexy ass guys. And you're like, why am I not like that? What the fuck is wrong with me? You go to TikTok, it's the same shit. Not realizing that this is all obviously super manicured. It's not real. Okay. And then that probably sets your progress back by a giant fucking margin, right? Because then you're like, oh, I'm so far away from that. And you're just ruining your own self-esteem. So what you should do, okay, what you should do instead is don't fucking worry about any of that shit and worry about yourself. Work on yourself. It's going to take some time. But, you know, it's not easy, but you put one foot in front of the next and you keep pushing. And before you fucking know it, you are going to be the best version of yourself, and you're going to have confidence that you've gained from all of the effort that you put in and as you are experiencing the fruits of your labor. Or you can be like this. You can be like this. Is that what you want to be like? Like her? Because that's the other end of the equation. You can either be like me, okay, because we were born out of a similar starting point of like deep insecurity, social anxiety, maybe even like developing some animosity towards others due to our own personal hangups. Okay? The pipeline sounds easier, to be honest. Yeah, that's why many people fucking succumb to that shit. Because there's like a shared experience, a collective grief that you experience together when you talk to others about how sad and pathetic your life is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say low self-esteem. That's the main one. And yeah, being humbled. That's why I can listen to Manosphere content.
This to me is an extremely telling moment, if not a pretty sad one. It reveals how Pearl truly sees herself, and how all the hate and misogyny that the Manosphere offers actually confirms all the loathing Pearl has always reserved for herself deep down, which I honestly can't help but pity. When you view yourself with such little regard as a person, and accept that this must be just who you are, your life becomes so one-dimensional and boring. I mean, who wants that for themselves? This all may sound harsh, but it is so hard to talk about Pearl's content without also seeing how deeply intertwined it is with her own self-image. Her entire persona screams insecurity and desperation, to the point where she has been widely coined a pick-me girl by just about everyone. And you can't blame them, because being a pick-me is in the very nature of the character she portrays.
Permission? I want to give him permission, but if I chose to go down the path of high-value man, I would know that it's a possibility, and I don't think I would want to ruin an entire family over that.
If I was super in love and I had children with a man and I was really, really in love with him, he was a good man overall, I think I'd be lying if I'd say that I couldn't get over it. We should try to give men grace. I think that's part of relationships. That's part of life.
Like, I think if a woman cheats, she's trying to leave you. If a man cheats,
yes.
just like
getting
it's like a handshake.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree.
But like, I don't know, the Marxist in me wants to account for the ways in which alienation makes dating difficult. Yes, being a 7 is possible. Everyone is so atomized. I'm not saying be a doomer, but I just don't think it's enough to focus on individual self-improvement. The material conditions make this shit worse, bro. Yeah, they do. But it's no different than the conversation that we were having about like the overcoming certain things that are thrown in your way. Like, it's not going to be easy. No one is saying it's going to be easy. Everyone has a different battle. Everyone has a higher hill to climb than one another. There's different ones. You can either sit there and look to other people and go, well, their fucking situation was much better. Okay, so it was much easier for them to overcome this shit. And I am not in that situation because, my battles are way tougher. It's like, yeah, no, I understand. No, it's not the same energy as overcoming poverty. Okay. It's not the same energy as saying you can overcome poverty. That's an idiotic fucking assessment. Okay. Because there are material circumstances that make both, unviable or impossible to overcome, certainly. But one is your own body that you're trapped inside of, dude. What the fuck? It's very, very, very frustrating to have this conversation with people who go, oh, dude, you could just like stop being rich, I guess. Like, I'm not telling a homeless person to just buy a home, dummy. Using progressive language to be an incel, that's a new one? No, it's not a new one. Incels do that all the time. No, 100%. Incels absolutely have been doing that since day one. If anything, it is like, it's the same shit, actually. A lot of it is because people don't want to have, people don't want to develop like a materialist understanding of the world, so they hyper-focus on other structural forms of oppression that they perceive or that they're experiencing, and then make that their entire lives mission. They become incels because instead of like recognizing patriarchal capitalism, for example, they look to feminism as the major reason as to why women have autonomy now, and they no longer can like lord over them and feel as though it's oppressive that they are not in a, I don't know, like fucking mail ordered bride situation or like a family organized marriage. Focusing on yourself and trying to improve yourself is something you can do at every fucking step of your life in every kind of background. It can be very difficult given your circumstances, but it's something you should focus on regardless. And I will never fucking sit here and do the classic leftist trope that or the classic leftist stereotype that isn't even fucking real that right-wingers attribute to the left, which is, oh, leftist people don't want self-improvement. They never want to fucking improve themselves. They just want to bitch and complain about structures. Oh, that's all they want to do. Yeah, it's all they want to do is bitch and complain. It's like, what the fuck? Hold on, while I use dialectical materialism on the manosphere law, this shit is so funny.
Pearl needs to chill the fuck out, and maybe she can do so with today's sponsor, Vance Global. Vance Global specializes in
Chatter should look at homeless people in Japan. Many of them look better than the average Westoid male. What the fuck does that even mean? What? This dude's brain has been laser zapped by fucking watching too much anime, okay? All right. Wonderful sponsor, Vance Global, code Aubrey, okay?
Dang, I just took one of these things, okay?
Yeah, but
Here.
CBD to get me through the rest of this video. Or don't, I don't give a shit. Channel, so be sure and remember codes
Code Aubrey and Aubrey30.
Aubrey and Aubrey30 at checkout. Or don't, I don't give a shit. Huge thanks again to the wonderful people over at Vance Global for supporting what I do and supplying me with enough CBD to get me through the rest of this video.
yeah, but so this is the perceived value of the women. And maybe this would be the value of the women if we were virgins and offered men like 7 children. But the actual value is more like here. You know what? No, that's a little too high. I'm gonna make it lower. Perceived actual.
Pearl uploads multiple times a day to her channel, which means we get clips like these on an incredibly frequent basis.
Fat chicks have way more complications. They have a harder time getting pregnant. So if a traditional man wants children, he can't pick a fat chick. They're like, okay, if she's already chubby in her 20s, then I have a lifetime of
It is exhausting just how dedicated this woman is to embarrassing herself on such a public level. I mean, just look at these thumbnails and titles, man. Men are not interested in modern women. Modern women got schooled. Modern women will never understand this. I am not shitting you when I say the words modern woman have appeared in over 600 of her titles over the past year.
Okay, but like, go churn butter. Get back to the kitchen. Like, why are you on TikTok? You fucking harlot. Like, you're a modern woman. Like, what are you doing? You're out there frolicking around like a trollop with your fucking shoulders bare for every man to see. Go to the fucking kitchen. Why should I listen to you? Is my question. There are women out there churning butter, okay? They got fucking forearm strength. Why? Because they're living in fucking Quakertown and they're churning butter every day. They're barefoot, they're pregnant, they're in the kitchen. You will never hear from them. Fuck, you'll never even see them, right? You can maybe sometimes see them but not hear them. But they certainly are not on TikTok, okay? You have the opportunity to live your life in the way that you want to, and yet you choose not to. Now, some might say, Hasan, well, isn't that like you say you're a socialist and yet blah, 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 you live a lifestyle? And it's like, I've never been against luxury goods or items Don't point to like $100 million fucking yacht that looks like a spaceship to be like, oh, wow, you criticize that. That must mean that you can't have a fucking Porsche. Because if you say that, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? As a matter of fact, I do believe that certain commodities must be readily accessible for all. After all, those are the little joys that a lot of people have in life. Okay? So that's number one. And number two, we are living in a patriarchal society. We're not living in a socialist society. We're living in a capitalist society where all matter of consumption will never be devoid of exploitation. It's impossible. Okay? There's no such thing as ethical consumption under a capitalist organization of the economy. It does not exist. Whereas you absolutely can, and in Just Pearly Things' case, should get back to the fucking kitchen if you want that to be the case. Okay? That's it. But she don't want to do that. Because she also is a modern woman and wants to be a modern woman. Okay? That's the point. She doesn't want to be a trad cath. She doesn't want to be a trad wife. There are plenty of them out there, and they're living wonderful, happy lives. As a matter of fact, that's the major point of contention that I have with all these fucking losers. It's like, feminism doesn't mean you have to stop doing those things if you want to do those things. Okay? If anything, it's capitalism that stops you from doing those things. If you want to like fucking have a single income family unit, well, good luck. You can't really do that anymore because everybody needs to work, okay? Can't really do child rearing because the Hasanabi top of the hour ad break avoidance fee is $5, and you know both you and the husband have to pay for it because neither of you want to fucking watch the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. We share one account while watching. That's called cheating. You better fucking both better fucking pay up. You better up your subscription to tier 2 right now before I ban you. No, I'm just kidding. I know someone's gonna fucking clip that and fucking be like, look at Hasan, he's crazy. He did that. Oh my god. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Yeah, account sharing is stealing from me and poor corporations. Don't you fucking do that.
You're alone. So yeah, you could say Pearl is tapped into her own little niche, which is pretending she knows everything while saying absolutely nothing.
You go from an 80%, and people dispute these numbers left and right, but you go from an 80% chance of a happy marriage with 0 partners to a 20% with 5+.
In one clip titled Pearl Drops the Mic, Pearl blamed birth control for turning women into hoes before going on to say no-fault divorce laws have allowed these evil women to ruin their families. Because
it's just funny because like the other alternative for Pearl was literally like to become a femcel, and I feel like she was, if like things were 3 to 4% different in her life, she would have been one of those like I want to chop every man's dick type people on Twitter. You know what I mean? Both of those perspectives oftentimes are born out of trauma and things going deeply wrong and not being able to like resolve that trauma. And instead falling into a deep pit of despair. And instead of being a femcel, she became like a female incel, you know? Like she could have been a rad femme and probably seen that same level of like support structure. She has like one of those like anonymous stan accounts and she's like constantly fucking chirping on the timeline nonstop. But she went in this direction, which I think is even sadder. Because at least like a lot of those femcells, they are like deeply hypocritical. Like the rad femcells are deeply hypocritical about the content they themselves consume and enjoy. You know what I mean? They never like have that same kind of crosshair or smoke for like their favorite content creator, which is oftentimes a woman. And like the people that their favorite content creator choose to date, a man. Yuck. You know what I mean? But like they get to enjoy shit, whereas I feel like this is just so sad.
Because social media has convinced them they deserve men they aren't hot enough for. Which might make some sense if you have the dating maturity of a 14-year-old boy. Otherwise, this just sounds like a lazy...
Bro, how did you tell your parents you don't believe in Allah anymore and could really use niche advice like that? You never have to tell your parents that. I'm a firm believer that that is not a conversation you need to have with your parents at all. Why the fuck would you ever have that conversation with your parents? Just live your life, dude. What the fuck? What, do you want to fucking debate them? Like, what's going on? Yeah, just fucking lie, dude. What? Just be like, oh, I can't go to the mosque, Dad. I know it's Jummah, but oh man, I'm too busy.
mess of assumptions and painfully broad generalizations of women who get divorced.
Birth control allowed hoes to be hoes. The provider, the hoes don't pick the provider, they pick the Chad. Then no fault divorce allowed the hoes to leave. Then the government funded them leaving. And then social media made girls that are sick.
I'm sorry. What do you mean you make it sound so easy? What, like when you fucking sneeze and or when you do something great, do you have to say "Oh my science" instead of "Oh my Allah" or something? Like what? Like it's just like your parents have to find out? Like I don't understand. What is this? Oh no. I said "Oh my science" instead of "Oh my God" in the household. And now my parents know I'm an atheist. Like, is that what happened to you? Just fucking lie, dude. What do you mean? I don't like the religion thing is like that part is like, you know, it's just there are ways around it in the same way that like you can't just lie about being gay. You know what I mean? You can't lie about being gay to your parents because at a certain point, even if you are doing it out of like protective reasons, if you're trying to do it out of self-preservation purposes, like you might get caught. And that's like very different than just not telling your fucking parents that you don't believe in God. Let's not go there. I know atheists get very mad about that. No, for me, it's the guilt that comes with it. I'm not atheist myself, but it's hard to split living with a religious life with a Western lifestyle. Wait, what? When you get caught with a microscope in your room, yeah. They walk in and you're reading the theory of evolution and you're like, oh no! Oh my science! Oh fuck! I mean, oh my God! I'm reading this disapprovingly, mom and dad. Like, yeah, they catch you with a book. You're reading Darwin, but you got to read it like this. Like you're shaking your head disapprovingly as you read it. Oh God, I hate this. No, this isn't good. I just reading to learn. I bought it to remind me of the things I hate. Yeah, like Harlan Crow bought all that Nazi memorabilia. Didn't Shaq get mad for making fun of fake atheist suppression law? Yes, they did, and they still will if I keep doing this. I'm literally crying about user Shrek 2 for DVD, talking about the struggles of growing up Muslim. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Gotta work it out. I thought we were just talking about living a Western lifestyle. I didn't know we were talking about Darwinism. My bad. Wait, what? No, for me, it's the guilt that comes with it. I'm not atheist myself, but it's hard to split living a religious life with a Western lifestyle. I don't even know what you mean by this. You know, people value the supportive relationship they have with their parent. Brother, you can still have a supportive relationship with your family and your parents without like having to tell them the intricacies of your belief structure. Like what? They're your fucking parents. Maybe some of them, like most of them should love you unconditionally, but like if that is going to be a big issue for them, then you don't have to bring that up, in my opinion. My family still thinks I'm a Trump or red pill when in reality I'm a proud left-leaning Hasanabi head. But that's not the same as outright lying. I don't think you can hide being an ex-Muslim from my very religious Muslim parents based on my experience. I mean, it varies, obviously. I don't know, just stay away from the bacon and don't drink alcohol around your family. I feel like if your family if expects you to pray 5 times a day, for example, right, and you're not doing it, you can like ease into it, okay? You can ease into it. Just like you're not praying and then they find out. They're like, whoa, why aren't you praying anymore? What's happening there? And you're like, oh, I'm just too busy. Also, I don't know what age range of people I'm talking to, so there's that reality as well. Like maybe there's a lot of young people in here still and you're talking to a 32-year-old man, you know what I mean? So like obviously my perspective on this is way different. Like I love my family. I love my family to death, but like yeah, there's certain things I did in my childhood and in my adolescent age and even in my young adult life that they would definitely not approve of, but, you know, I didn't have to fucking confront them with it, ever. Come out as a gay atheist and negotiate down to just atheist.
6s think they're 9s and 10s. They break up their home because they think they can do better, and they can't. Class dismissed.
I mean, how is this meant to be convincing? Well, it's not supposed to be convincing. It's supposed to reinforce the stereotypes men have of whatever qualifies in their minds as modern women. Here is Pearl, a woman, saying the things that feed directly into the biases of someone displeased with women having access to things like birth control, Instagram, or divorce. Here is a woman reassuring them that they're right without actually citing any direct evidence or examples as to why. And the morons in the comments eat it the fuck up. This chick should win the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Pearl's dad is Chuck Norris. We need smart people like her in Congress and Senate. She's doing the work of the Lord. She should run for Congress. You gotta respect the way these freedom-loving patriots want the federal government to strip rights away from half the population.
Why women shouldn't vote. Yes, okay. I would like to tell you how I came to this conclusion. I wanted to know why men were so angry about women. When I started researching the stuff, it was pretty easy to figure out why. 90% of women have been on birth control. 1 out of 3 women has had an abortion. 1 out of 3 women has an STD. Average body count is over 5, so that your average wife has slept with over 5 people. 95% of women are not virgins on their wedding days. I understand the
Really fucked up, man. Societal collapse is upon us, you know?
See, the YouTube Shorts format fits Pearl's arguments a lot more suitably than a full-length, fleshed-out video could. The 60-second time limit lends itself to the inherent lack of nuance in her beliefs. Plus, these get way more views, too. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about these shorts that takes the algorithm by storm. There's a way more potential to go viral here than anywhere else. Without any extra efforts, you can get 22 million people to watch this.
If my son came home from school one day and said to me, "Look, Mum, I'll be honest with you, I think I'm gay," I would take it on, and I'd be open.
What if your son came home and said, "I think I'm black"?
Huh? That's the level of argumentation we're on? I've heard that about being trans because people perceive being trans as like not real, you know what I mean? But I thought that we had moved past it on the gay front, you know what I mean? Like being gay is a choice, is like this ain't the 90s no more, you know what I mean? Like I feel like she went so old school with this argument that she went back to the 90s where people would say that all the time, like, you're just gay for attention. Being gay is a choice. Like that only works when you say that about being trans, because like the collective consciousness is not there yet, you know what I mean? For trans issues, like people will agree with you because they think being trans is a choice and weird and gross and whatever the fuck, but like that's just not gonna work for being gay.
Well, I mean, obviously I'd have to sit him down and be like,
So you don't think if he thought he was the opposite gender, you might need to sit him down and
tell him that he's well, that's what I said. I mean, I would listen to him.
Yes. Wait, what? She said gay, dog. She didn't say trans. She didn't even hear what the other lady said. She just automatically resorted to the trans argument.
So if you got that one, she didn't actually destroy the woke woman as the title insists. She just changed the fucking subject entirely. Multiple times, too. How is acknowledging a difference between race, sexuality, and gender owning anybody in this circumstance? Hey, Mom, I think I might be gay. Are you black? That's not the same thing. Oh, okay, so now you want to change your gender. Are you even listening to me? Wow, children sure are dumb. I also love the way she sits there in silence as if she just made some epic clapback that left the room speechless. Like, no, they're speechless because what you just said was so mind-numbingly stupid, they're in literal awe. It's honestly pretty inspiring to think someone could be so confidently wrong on so many things. I think we can see pretty plainly that when Pearl isn't pulling random shit out of her ass, she's deliberately neglecting context to prove a point. Like for example here, as you can see, even Piers Morgan still has the awareness to call Pearl out for ignoring the fact that many women, back when it was illegal for them to vote, were still willing to take less opportunity because that's what they have been conditioned to accept. And instead of rebutting this with anything specific or concrete, her counter just does more to reinforce his point.
I found out that only 5%.
This is the tragic tale of Just Pearly Things, the unpickable pick-me from Jobry, friend of the show Jobry.
Of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true. You look it up.
At the time.
At the time.
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say. But, you know, I started reading their writings, right? And what I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family.
Yeah, obviously, that's what their writing is gonna say. How does that mean they weren't being brainwashed?
It also goes back to responsibility. Men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. So I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Go apply to be on the oil rigs. Go be a plumber. Go be an electrician. Go be on the front lines of the military. And then we should have equal rights. But until feminists are willing to do that, I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that I'm physically built for that. You might be.
Pearl's position here seems to be that because men supposedly do all the heavy lifting in society, then we deserve certain privileges like the right to vote. Since women are, according to her, not contributing the same as men, they shouldn't get those same rights. But a policy like this wouldn't make much sense because not all men are doing such hard, intense labor. I'm not making this video from atop an oil rig, so would I still get to vote in Pearl land? I guess.
No, you don't get it. You're fucking gay and homofied because you're not even because you're like anything, not even because you're making content online, but because you're soy, because you're not on the side of misogyny and right-wing reactionary politics. Dude, it doesn't matter. You could literally be, again, a 245-pound, 6'4" man who works out every fucking day and eats 2 pounds of chicken a day, and some fucking 125-pound soaking wet dipshit will go, "You're so soy and gay and not masculine because you think like we shouldn't execute gay people and trans people." It's not about who you are. It's not even about the fucking aesthetics at that point. It's just straight up about like the values that you put out there. The more you say you're a macho man, the more macho you actually are. Okay? You wore a dress on purpose once, gay. Exactly. And it's like, I do that on purpose. Like, I like it. It's fine. You know what I mean? I'm very confident about my sexuality. What the fuck? But no, you cannot fucking explain that to people. The hardline talking points that they don't change regardless of reality. Like, at this point, we have moved, partially because we are always online, and that's the way we experience the world is online, that, like, someone will unironically be like, Ben Shapiro advocates for the right values, and Hasan advocates for the wrong values, and that's why Hasan is soy and gay, whereas Ben Shapiro is mask and alpha, an alpha dog. Bradley Martin knocked Sneeko down in sparring. Oh, no. Hey, he's 250, brother. Or 260, brother.
Survive! Survive! You got this! Survive! I'll call him time. Oh, fucking. 1 second. Go!
Bro, he's not even guarding. Bradley's not even putting his fucking guard up. He's just like, he's like toying with him, dude. He's 260, brother. Now imagine a street fight. Imagine a street fight. He's 260.
Oh.
This is so dumb. Why are we watching child abuse? Why the fuck would you, a non-trained person, try to fucking fight Bradley Martin, who is 260 pounds and like insanely yacked, dude? Especially around equipment too. I know. I feel like such a dad. I saw, you know what I thought? While he was like punching him, I immediately thought, oh no, he's gonna fucking cock back and directly dome that metal beam behind him. He sees red. Yeah. No. Bradley isn't trained either. Yeah, it doesn't matter at that point. If two people are not trained, the person who is 260 pounds and insanely fucking yacked is going to beat the shit out of the person who is 100 pounds and also not trained. I'm not fucking trained, and I wouldn't want to fucking fight Bradley. He would beat my ass too, because guess what? I'm 245, and he is 260 at 7% body fat. I'm 245 at like fucking 20% body fat. He still has a tremendous amount more muscle mass than me. Okay? Now, obviously, the situation changes dramatically if we're talking about like a lightweight or what is it? I can't even say it. The situation changes dramatically when we were talking about a traditional fighter. okay, featherweight, or someone who is much, much, much skinnier than Bradley Martin, who knows how to fucking fight, would probably still be able to beat his ass. Sorry, no fucking way that guy's 7% body fat. I mean, I'm memeing. He's not 7, but he's like 10% body fat maximum. I mean, he has like visible abs. In the MMA community, the big debate is who would win, Bradley Martin or Demetrius Johnson. You fucked around with the sumo wrestlers. I feel like you and Bradley could have a fun slap sparring around. No, Bradley Martin is significantly stronger than me. I think you guys literally forget that. He's definitely stronger than me, like a lot stronger than me. And he's on like an insane amount of steroids. What are we talking about? I think a lot of people forget that, there's a reason why there's supposed to be a USADA, okay? This conversation is always so funny. Like, why do you think there is international rules for drug testing? It takes a tremendous amount of work to achieve this body, regardless of the help that you might get from modern medicine. But there is still a tremendous boost that you get from modern medicine, okay? Yeah, his forearms are bigger than Sneako's fucking quads, dude. Look at him. Like, look at that. I think a professional fighter would still beat Bradley's ass, but dude, I'm not kidding. I feel like Sneako every day is just like looking for new ways to be ritualistically humiliated on the fucking timeline. And he must have nutted so hard as his head was hitting the fucking ground because he was fantasizing about how many people are going to own him. He was like, oh man, this is the greatest. Here, another day, another way to get cucked. Like, he's like, that grunt wasn't him becoming concussed. That grunt was him concussing himself with the nut. Sean O'Malley's talking about fighting Bradley. Says it'd be tougher than people
Who wins
think.
in a street fight, me or you?
Street fight. In my opinion, is it in a basketball court or is it in a cage?
We got space.
If it's not like somewhere super, like a room like this, I wouldn't like my odds as much. But like a wide open space, I'm 100% not gonna get as tired as you. It would be very hard for you to just grab a hold of me. I've been defending that for the last 12 years, not letting people grab a hold of me. But no one's tried as strong as you. But even if you did just grab a hold of me, there's other issues you got to worry about. Don't let me fucking grab your neck at all. Don't let me take your back. I got a couple little takedowns that I'd probably be able to get to your back and choke you. That's how I would have to guess.
The streets are different though. You get his back and you slam me on the concrete.
That's true. That is
so
true.
different.
You jump backwards and slam me. I'm not in a good position unless I don't know. That's a good point. I wouldn't want to test it. I wouldn't want to fucking do it.
I wouldn't want to do it either.
Dude, he loves this. He's like, yeah. I hate MMA so much. I mean, a lot of these guys are fun dudes as long as they don't fucking start talking about random dumb shit. Okay? This is just bro talk. This is very normal. This is very normal bro talk. This is like 90% of talk that men have around other men. It's a very normal conversation to have. It's also hilarious that he keeps fucking asking every MMA fighter, like, oh, what's up, brother? Would you fight me? I wouldn't fight me either, brother. I'm 260, brother. It's so stupid.
I like you a lot.
It would be scary. I would be scared. But that would also probably make me more dangerous, being like, it's actually life or death. I'd like to think I have the skills to be able to kill you.
This was Brad's favorite answer so far. O'Malley is killing a dude who states when he's mad, he sees red, choking him the fuck out 10 out of 10. He's asking because he knows these MMA guys will get very angry but cannot really fight him to prove it. No, I don't think that's the only reason. I think it's because it's like a funny fucking a funny meme at this point. No, one of them will absolutely fucking put it to the test. What do you mean? MMA guys, very famously, the wrong MMA guy, these are all of his friends, so it's very different. But the wrong MMA guy will 100%, if they're set up in a way, the wrong MMA guy would 100% test it. And in the moment, too. Not even on a like a random occasion. What do you mean? Like that fucking Trump supporter guy in Florida, what's his fucking face? He like literally would just like beat the shit out of people that he hates and gets mad at outside of the cage. What the fuck was the guy? Yeah, Colby Covington. Is that what? Or no, Masvidal. Yeah, Masvidal is the one I was thinking of. Didn't know Bradley was juiced up? What? Did you just say you didn't know Bradley Martin was juiced up? Oh, that's awesome. Guys, I didn't know Ronnie Coleman was juiced up. Okay, let's get back to just pearly things. God damn. I had to take a couple different steps in a other direction because, like, you know, we gotta break this content apart. It's too long.
This is something Pearl realized, though, because by the very next day, she was clarifying that not all men should be allowed to vote either. So there you go.
We have to define what is the infrastructure. Farming, manufacturing, transportation, building the buildings, paving the roads. Now remember, women do teaching, we do nursing, but if those jobs went away, the infrastructure of society would still run. We would still have food, we would still have water, we would still have a military. Why should we have an equal say?
Maybe because you're still living in society? Why should not participating in the specific fields you mentioned disqualify someone from choosing how our communities are governed? If everyone is affected by the actions of the government, then everyone should ideally have a say. I mean, this shouldn't even be a debate. Plus, Pearl overlooks the other countless jobs that are crucial for society to run. I mean, just the fact that she's so quick to dismiss teachers and nurses really underlines what little of a grasp she has on the world around her. If nurses disappeared, our healthcare infrastructure would immediately crumble, and if teachers disappeared, we'd all turn out like Pearl.
She became friends with Winston and Clementine Churchill.
Why does Churchill sound familiar? Winston Churchill did something or wrote something.
British Prime Minister.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Let me know, maybe I'm wrong.
Doesn't she literally live in England? What the fuck?
Maybe Pearl's just a misogynist. I just hate women, and I'm just a dummy YouTuber who doesn't know anything.
Yeah, well, you said that, not me. But I will say, when literal children are agreeing with your takes, it might be time to reconsider.
Pay gap destroyed by kids? Why would you post that, like, as a good thing? Man, look at all these kids who believe my worldview. Like, me and these kids, we're so fucking aligned. It's like, no more nap time. They call me Nikki No Naps, dude. Fuck yeah. Goo goo gaga, motherfucker. Always.
Consider some things.
Girls don't work as hard as the boys.
She's red-pilled.
Pearl will spout something off like, there are more sex workers in America than teachers, which has certainly been contested.
Wait, what? No, that's not true.
As the most recent stats on prostitution from 2016 estimate there to only be a total of 1 to 2 million sex workers living in the US, compared to 4 million teachers as of 2023. But let's just be super generous and say Pearl was also counting the 2 million or so OnlyFans creators in her tweet as well. That will put the number closer to 4 million, I guess. But it's clear she's not really going off of any hard numbers. And even if there were more sex workers than teachers, so what? What is Pearl even trying to prove here? That women are less interested in teaching the next generation and more interested in being sluts? I mean, what is the insinuation? If anything, it would just prove how thankless of a job teaching has become.
Yeah, bro, they don't fucking... Yeah, here's how you solve that, for the record. Ironically, not doing... Sex work is not just prostitution. Okay, OnlyFans, fine. Even though not every single person on OnlyFans is exclusively doing sex work or doing sex work at all. But it doesn't even fucking matter. Okay? First of all, there's a lot of people who are teachers and also doing OnlyFans. There's number one. But the solution to that problem is by, one, literally fucking paying teachers more. Give them a living wage, okay? Give teachers a living wage. But of course, teaching, ironically, is one of those sectors that is dominated by women, like nurses, for example. And of course, as you know, all of these sectors that are dominated by women and are drastically and dramatically under fucking paid, dude. 31-year-old teacher quit her job. Now she works at Costco and boosted her income by 50%. I've never been happier. I wanted to be a teacher until I realized I didn't want to be poor. Literally my new coworker. Yeah, bro, it's just so fucking stupid. Like, I'm a teacher and I saw pictures of my 6'2" man feet. I haven't made much with the teaching stuff. There you go. Yeah, teaching is a job of passion. It's always been that. Absolutely zero people throughout history have ever been like, man, I'm trying to fucking cake. I'm trying to get fucking caked in dough. I'm going to go to the teaching profession. Okay? That's not how that fucking works. You do it because you love it. You do it because you want to make a positive impact in the fucking world. but it especially doesn't work in America. Okay, there are other countries like Finland where the jobs have very high qualifications, and also on top of that, you need to. Professors make bank? No, they don't. What the fuck are you talking about? You know how long it takes for a professor to get to the position of like actually making money, and even then they make a lot of money off of like books and shit, not necessarily. What professor? What professor in what college is making bank? If professors made bank, think tanks would be out of a fucking job. Okay, think tanks would not exist. The moment that professors make bank. 90% of Washington, D.C. think tanks that write 1,100 articles about how China is going to collapse any given moment now is gone, okay? No more Jordan Peterson. If professors made bank, no more fucking Jordan Peterson, okay? If professors make bank, no more insane studies that show that Coca-Cola makes your penis larger or whatever the fuck. That's how they make bank. Tenure professors make like $200K a year, but you have to get a PhD, which sucks. Well, the part of the process where you get a PhD is also fucking awful. And last but not least, to get to being a tenured professor is a very long and arduous process. That's why I was saying, like, yeah, some people will make, and also you're talking about $200K a year. And in which cities? Okay? In which college? In which cities? Like tenured professors in certain colleges, in certain cities, in certain fields might be able to get to that level, but it's not, it's an incredibly hard process and it's incredibly selective. It's not as easy as you think. And it requires a tremendous amount of money as well up front and a tremendous amount of labor that you're not adequately getting compensated for with grad programs. You are basically a professor, but for free.
It's not surprising that people would turn to a job that actually pays them. If you want there to be less women on OnlyFans, Pearl, then you should be advocating for things like higher wages and better working conditions, but she doesn't even want women to be teachers in the first place.
2 women cannot teach the way 1 man used to teach. They now have a teacher and a teacher's aide on average in classrooms. And it used to be 1 man, and the men used to have better outcomes.
Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot of data on this subject in general, and I have no idea which study Pearl could possibly be pulling from here. I wonder why that is. But the Center for Global Development lists the results of a few experiments from several countries, noting that in Ecuador, children were randomly assigned to teachers for 4 years, and researchers examined the impact of teacher gender on math scores. They found that teacher gender does not affect the math achievement of boys or girls, with similar results coming from other countries like China as well as Korea, where female students performed substantially better on standardized tests when assigned to female teachers. As far as Western countries go, the CDG notes that studies tend to find little or no effect, other than at least one from the US that found a positive one. And that's just me going off whatever studies I could find. I am absolutely lost in figuring out where Pearl is getting her information. But who am I to question the omniscient foresight of the all-powerful Pearl Davis? In fact, she's actually somewhat of a psychic. That's right, this woman can see directly into the future.
Zendaya is gonna leave his ass. Her hypergamy is gonna get the best of her. I'm sorry, Zendaya is like a sweetheart, and I think a lot of like high value men are gonna be interested in her. It's not that Tom Holland isn't a high value man, he is, but I just think more high value men are going to be interested, and I think she's going to go for it. I give it 6 months.
To know the exact inner workings of a celebrity's private dating life is certainly an impressive talent to have. And what an amazing fountain of knowledge Pearl is. Except she's so far removed from reality, it makes me a little worried. Just take her incredibly weird and intrusive video here, where she speculates on Tom Brady's divorce from his wife Giselle, once again blaming their separation on the fact that Tom was making less money playing football than Giselle did as a supermodel.
Giselle and Tom divorced last year. Now, there are a couple warning signs that a woman is going to leave your ass. Number 1 is if she out-earns you. Most women have a modern mindset where they think they are better than a man because they out-earn him.
Man, you don't know the reason for their divorce, so what are you even saying? This is something Pearl has suggested in the past, that women who out-earn their husbands tend to leave them.
That's one of the number 1 predictors of divorce. If a woman out-earns her husband, she is more likely to leave.
But there's a reason Pearl doesn't cite any sources when she says things like this. According to sociologists from the University of Wisconsin-Madison and the University of Pennsylvania, the divorce rate for couples...
A lot of this stuff a lot of this stuff also, like, even if it was the way that she's explaining, a lot of this stuff is literally just like male cope. You know what I mean? Like, you're just mad that you can't lock people, you can't trap and lock them into like former, more traditional forms of coexistence, right? Like, even if what she was saying had like empirical evidence backing it, right? It's so ridiculous. Like, what's the alternative then? Fucking forcing women at gunpoint to stay in marriages? Like, I don't understand. I actually don't get it. Like, I mean, I know that that's what they want, but it's so fucking stupid. It's not even true, but it doesn't matter. Even if it was fucking true, it's like all you're doing is complaining. You're complaining that, like, what? Women having autonomy is bad. And the thing is, with Pearl, she's not even fucking smart enough, or even, I guess, interested enough, because she recognizes her audience is not smart enough to, like, mask it and try to use, like, better, clever rhetorical tools, and instead just straight up says it like, no, women are dumb and also bad, but if women are good and they are a valuable partner because money is the only thing that fucking matters, then they have the freedom and they want to leave you, and that's bad and wrong. It's like, and we should stop that from happening.
Married in the 90s with female breadwinners has fallen to just 4% higher than those with male breadwinners, which is a massive improvement compared to couples married in the 60s and 70s who were 70% more likely to divorce when wives earned more or the same as their husbands. Marriages with female breadwinners are actually succeeding way more today than ever before in the past, but that's not the kind of context Pearl would give you because it doesn't fit her overly simplistic view of the world. By ignoring the circumstances around a set of data, Pearl will often use real numbers to arrive at a faulty conclusion that fits her narrative. Not to mention there's basically zero indication that money played a role at all in Giselle leaving Tom Brady. Back in reality, Giselle has stated, sometimes you grow together, sometimes you grow apart. When I was 26 years old and he was 29 years old, we met, we wanted a family, we wanted things together. As time goes by, we realized that we just wanted different things, and now we have a choice to make. And that's basically all we know. They've otherwise kept things pretty private for a reason, and I don't think we should know anything more than what they're willing to share, nor is it appropriate to speculate. And it certainly isn't appropriate to manipulate their...
Also, there's something way more important in this situation. Like, if you want to make assessments, like, maybe she wanted to break up with him because he kept kissing his kids on the lips. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like I feel like that would be the first point of consideration for someone like myself. If I was looking at it from the outside, like, that's what I would say. Because I feel like that's kind of weird. Like, he was always just like, he was always trying to fucking tongue kiss his children. And that was kind of weird and gross.
Story to fit your own agenda in front of 500,000 people.
Now, why is it rumored that they divorced? Oh, he was working on his career too much. But the funny thing is, if the men were not working on their careers, we would not want them anyway. And what you can...
Yeah, it's like how would Giselle take care of the children with her meager wages and tiny marginal net worth? Yeah, it would be really, really, really tough for Giselle Bündchen to take care of the children with her fucking little silly ass salary.
See as this is a control tactic of modern women.
The way Pearl is speaking here, you'd think Giselle hates Tom with a burning passion, which is completely untrue. As she stated herself, she still loves and wants the best for her ex-husband, hands down, going on to say that rumors circulating about them are actually very hurtful and the most ridiculous thing she's ever heard. Pearl also refuses to believe that Tom could have possibly done anything to warrant Giselle initiating a divorce, despite there not being enough reliable information to indicate that. She's just pinning total blame for a situation she doesn't understand onto a woman because that's what's most convenient. And then she has the nerve to craft an entire narrative in an effort to generalize more women. I mean, do you see a problem? Like, this is what she does.
He can do everything right, and his wife will still divorce his ass.
I gotta pee.
Women are never happy. You can give a woman everything she wants,
and she will never be happy.
I mean, Pearl is literally just writing her own fan fiction about a celebrity couple she will never meet. The title is just blatant clickbait. Not once during these 7 minutes of absolute torture does she give even a single example of Giselle getting furious at anything. You're just using famous names to Trojan horse your putrid beliefs because nobody cares what you have to say otherwise. And as a Cowboys fan, I hate the Pearl is making me defend Tom Brady. But reinforcing parasocial relationships with football players honestly pales in comparison to clickbaiting a person's actual death like she does in this video.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just Pearly Things YouTube channel and welcome to Pearl Daily. We have a OnlyFans model who died trying to be a whore.
Yeah, that is actually how the video starts. Never mind the fact that she wrongly labeled this lady as an OnlyFans model, as there is nothing in the news to confirm that. She was an Instagram model who tragically lost her life in 2017 while under the influence. She leaned herself out of a moving car that her friend was driving and hit a lamppost. It's an absolutely horrific situation, and of course that's not something she should have been doing, but she also didn't deserve to lose her life, as Pearl's thumbnail implies. I mean, her family lost a loved one, and Pearl can't have any respect for them. Pearl mentions this situation in the title and thumbnail in a 54-minute episode of her podcast. Yet only 2 minutes are spent at the very end actually discussing what happened. And when we finally do get to that part, Pearl's commentary is just this.
You know, we're so addicted to attention these days. Women are addicted to attention. She became so attention addicted that it literally led to her death. And we see case after case after case. We see this as a trend, a growing trend. More women getting so addicted to social media that they ruin their marriages, you know, they don't watch their children, and they literally die for attention. And I think we gotta identify trends. So let me know what trends you see.
Yeah, I guess like that's why she is addicted to attention and like permanently sexless and has no husband or no prospects for a husband because she's so addicted. And like doesn't want to, you know, be a bad mother, I guess.
Happening in society. And let me know what you want me to cover tomorrow on Pearl Daily. Make sure you like the video on your way out.
I mean, to look at this tragedy and think, I wonder how I can use this to my ideological advantage is sickening, to the point that even some of Pearl's own fans have called it out. But Pearl isn't in the business of being tasteful or compassionate. For example, if this is your genuine reaction to peaceful protesters being forcibly manhandled into the back of an unmarked vehicle at the hand of an oppressive government, I'm not going to take you seriously on anything.
F around and find out. In the US, we have a whole month dedicated to gay people.
Damn, Hasan really went for her jugular. Poor Pearl, I feel so bad for her. She was just talking in the most callous way, in the most indifferent way about someone who had killed themselves. Like, you know,
We have flags everywhere. They're pushing gayness in the schools. There was a gay pride parade in Russia. Putin said, no, thank you. Keep that ideology out of here. And this is what happens. They shove the LGBTQ plus down your throat.
Shoving their agendas down our throats by holding a fucking sign? Are you really that threatened, Pearl, by a person standing? These people didn't choose to be oppressed. They're trying to be recognized for who they are. They're embracing their true selves in the face of a very real legal and physical danger, which is leagues more courageous than anything Pearl could even dream of doing for herself.
China has also shut down the Beijing LGBT Center, the last large LGBT.
Like, isn't one of the most famous television personalities in China literally an out and about trans woman who has very openly talked about being trans and has like literally got gender confirmation surgery way back in the fucking day, like before the technology was even there, and has even talked about the complications along with that have come along with that. Yeah, here is this the person? I think this is, right? Jin was born in Shenyang, China, to an ethnic Korean family. She studied in local Choseongchok Chinese elementary school. She was in the military and was a dancer. Yeah. Also criticized President of Russia Vladimir Putin for launching a military invasion into Ukraine. Look at this. She's fucking awesome. Jin was 6 years old. She went outside during a storm hoping that a lightning would strike and transform her into a girl. She underwent sex reassignment surgery in 1995 in Beijing. Has 3 adopted children. What I'm hearing is they have closed most trans healthcare and gender affirming care for youth in China now. At least that's what the leftist trans spaces have been watching. Them saying. Also, recently, China made access to gender affirming care a lot easier. Wait, I'm getting conflicting examples or answers here. I don't know if that is the case or not. You know, you guys are saying the exact opposite shit. I don't know. I don't know what China's LGBT censorship or LGBT rights look like in China. While both male and female same-sex activity are legal, same-sex couples that are currently unable to marry or adopt in households headed by such couples are ineligible for the same legal protections given to heterosexual couples. No explicit anti-discrimination protections for LGBT people are present in the legal system, nor do hate crime laws or cover sexual orientation or gender identity. I mean, yeah, China, of course, has been gay as fuck, just like everywhere else. Unsurprising. There's an anti-homosexual decree promulgated in 1740. Today, the government's approach to LGBT rights has been described as ambivalent, fickle, and as being no approval, no disapproval, no promotion. This is kind of funny to say. Wait, what the fuck? Everyone's going to say I'm a China dick rider, and I personally don't know what the situation in modern China is, but just reading this across the board, this literally applies to America. Like, bring up America already, but not only does this apply to America, it feels like it applies to China. Loosens restrictions on gender affirming surgery, but many trans people are still shut out. More trans people in China will be able to access gender affirming surgery and legal recognition under new rules. The new health commission in China published new guidelines on the 20th of April, which lower the age requirement for gender affirming surgery from 20 to 18. It also drops the requirement that people undergoing such surgeries must first go through a year of psychological counseling and psychiatric therapy, and makes the path to legal recognition easier. Wait, it dropped that requirement? You don't even need to do that now? What the fuck? Under the old regulations, the 2 surgeries were required, genital and removal and reconstruction, while trans men were also required to have top surgery. The updated rules... Wait, hold on. I'm actually confused by this. If this is like the federal regulation is like going in the positive direction, while America's going in the opposite direction, doesn't that mean that it's literally better than America? I'm not even... I don't know enough about this issue, but everybody always talks about how bad it is. And like, this obviously rules out non-binary people, right? And that part is certainly true. They actually are following WPATH recommendations, which is International Trans Medical Guidelines. East Asia at large is very homophobic but trans neutral. Yes and no. That's a pretty bold thing to say, pal. Don't they have universal healthcare in China, like all gender affirming care be covered? They're loosening regulations on to allow for more that's why they're loosening regulations to allow for more non-binary people. Medical terms have also been updated. While the stigma laden transsexualism remains a formal and required diagnosis, it has been joined by the terms gender dysphoria and gender incongruence. Unchanged are the requirements that trans people voice continuous demand for surgeries for at least 5 years and have a clean criminal record, something that prevents many trans sex workers from accessing surgery and recognition and gain. This is the most Chinese thing you could have done. They're like, we will give you free government-sponsored trans medical care, but you have to have a clean criminal record, which is such a, like, this in and of itself is the most Chinese thing I could have ever fucking seen, okay? It's like, yeah, we'll give it to you. You have to have no criminal record for 5 years. 5 years is stupid long, and clean criminal record is so fucked up. Yes, except, you're getting free government-sponsored trans medical care. So there is that. But it's like is it not free? Unchanged requirements. While the new rules are still highly restrictive and medicalize the path to legal recognition, they have been welcomed as a step in the right direction. In China, removal surgery costs around £1,197, while according to SupChina, in a total, a person's essential surgeries can cost up to £7,000. That's crazy. This simplified process will surgery up to more people, Shanghai-based medical practitioner told SupChina. Awan said, many trans people I know reposted the news on WeChat. The community was applauding the change. That's crazy. Let's continue with this.
LGBT organization in the country. I really think the U.S. should take notes.
She's unironically advocating for the imprisonment of people on the basis of something they cannot change, which is some Nazi shit, Pearl. That's just some Nazi shit. I hate to break it to you.
Where is my straight pride? I want straight pride month.
What about hopelessly...
Bro, you got nothing to be proud of, okay? Let me tell you something. Nothing.
Unmarried and unhappy month for you specifically.
We're getting to the point where we're putting sexuality on a pedestal.
Putting sexuality on a pedestal? Oh, you mean like what you do for a fucking living?
We have women that are, I would say, genetic, like, masterpieces. Great bodies, but they still are not exempt to being modern women. This woman is 51 and twice divorced. Literally, this woman is at the end of her life.
Pearl? End of her life? She's 50 years old. Is she gonna die of old age at 56?
What does life look like?
Also, how are you gonna come at the fucking queen? Like, literally engage in a modicum of self-reflection here. How dare you? How fucking dare you? It's like putting yourself, if you are just Pearly Things and you have the audacity to put yourself up next to Sofia motherfucking Vergara, okay? Like, that's so dumb. Like, why? You just owned yourself. You just destroyed any argument that you could ever make for the rest of your fucking life. It's like being like, look, she's 51. She's at the end of her life. She got divorced twice. It's like, what? That's insane, dude. Sofia Vergara has been hot longer than Pearl's been alive. Yeah, yes. It's like such a funny thing because it's an immediate self-own, okay? It is an immediate self-own. She's doing the same thing that Ben Shapiro does when he's like, gender binary is rigid. You have to be masculine if you're a man. And it's like, Ben, look at yourself. Imagine Ben Shapiro saying that about, like, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth or something. And he's just like, he posts a fucking photo of Chris Hemsworth shirtless because, like, let's say Chris Hemsworth defended trans people or something, right? In this hypothetical. And Ben's like, Chris Hemsworth is very clearly soy. It's like everyone would look at that and go, what are you saying right now? Do you hear yourself? It's so dumb.
Like at 70 for her when her looks are actually gone, because I don't know. Maybe she'll look good at 70. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. That's the whole point. Pearl's ideology insists that unless you marry young and begin popping out as many babies as you can physically muster, you aren't living up to your full potential as a woman. I mean, for fuck's sake, she suggested prosecuting anyone who does OnlyFans.
I was thinking if they made OnlyFans illegal, the influencers couldn't do it so openly. I reserve the right to prosecute you.
By painting with such broad strokes, she's obviously ignoring the population.
Dude, I wouldn't talk about prosecuting online content because, like, I feel like more people would want JustPearlyThings to be arrested immediately. You know what I mean? Like, if we're prosecuting people for the content they make online, you're going to fucking jail, dog. 100%. You know? I'm going to jail for serving the top of the hour ad break 20 minutes in, forgetting, and also doing exclusively politics for 8 fucking hours after saying, oh, we're going to have a Sunday fun day today. Okay? You know, that's my bad, I guess, but what are you going to do? It's a compelling video about JustPearlyThings. I think making video essays should be prosecutable. No, Aubrey would go to jail, and I don't want him to go to jail. I like his content. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
Of women who do manage to be happy in spite of not starting a family of their own. Maybe not everyone wants to wear trad dresses and cook for their husband instead of following a career path of their own. Although you definitely can do that. No one should ever stop you from living however you want to live. It's childish to assume everyone wants exactly what you want. Yet Pearl, either willfully or otherwise, simply refuses to accept that there are women out there who are content with straying away from the rigid, conventional guidelines she considers to be natural and necessary for society to function. I mean, isn't that what Pearl's doing? She's self-sufficient enough without a man, I thought.
I literally think that if I didn't have my dad helping me with, like, you know, the YouTube channel, I'm a woman. I would just, like, you know, flop and just, like, chill out.
Oh, well, never mind. But it's not like...
Okay, you need to go to jail too. Your dad is also going to jail. Jail for your dad as well.
Every woman on earth needs a man to help them build a basic fucking bed frame from IKEA. I'm sorry, but I'm floored by this tweet. This is the single easiest piece of furniture to build, and you're saying you need someone else to come in and save the day? Oh my god, pick yourself up, Pearl. Why would you admit to that? But she can barely go on one podcast without telling on herself, without revealing just how limited her perspective on the world really is. Despite making it her entire brand, Pearl doesn't really know what guys look for in a partner. She thinks she does, but that's because she's either hanging around the wrong people or just projecting again.
Seriously, what do women bring in 2022 that is special? Nothing. Do most women have a cookbook? Do most women really know how to cater to a man? No. Are most women virgins on their wedding day? No. So what do most women bring in 2022 that is special?
But I mean, is that truly all she believes women can offer? Virginity and a cookbook? What about companionship or guidance or communication or I don't fucking know, love? Why do the things that make women so valuable in the eyes of Pearl always boil down to simplistic things like cooking and sex? I promise you, that's just not what all people care exclusively about when looking for a partner. It's also interesting she keeps coming back to the concept of being a virgin considering she isn't one.
This is probably too far, but imagine, okay? You could go to the gynecologist to prove your virginity on your wedding day, right? And there was some sort of like prize, like $10,000, $5,000, whatever like a lifetime of child support would cost. You just put that for virginity on the wedding day.
Doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So you wouldn't be able to get married?
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
Yeah, this is such a recurring theme for Pearl. Take her video, Should You Wait Until Marriage Masterclass, where she pulls out a whiteboard and scribbles down a bunch of incomprehensible notes on virginity and aging and whatever else Pearl likes to dwell on throughout the day.
In most cases, virginity is the most valuable thing you can give to a guy. It is so powerful. Like that is the most beautiful gift you can give to someone. However,
It's just like so wild that she's also like none of the things that she claims is high value. I feel like JustPearlyThings is what my haters think I am for like women's issues. You know what I mean? Like this has to be, which ironically is her fucking entire audience, I suspect. Is it really that wild? Yes, dude, it is wild. It is actually fucking wild. In all honesty, do men value that? If you're like an absolute fucking dumbass, child-brained, insecure idiot, maybe. Valuing virginity is such a fucking insane thing. It should be an afterthought, if at that. To all the virgins in the chat, I don't mean that like it's a bad thing that you're a fucking virgin. I just mean that like thinking about it is so weird. I would say borderline gross. Okay? Like it ascribes value to, I don't know, it just ascribes value to like to your lack of experience in a specific field, and it is odd. Shame the cucks and virgins, shame them all. No, I'm not even shaming virgins, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm a Twitch streamer, okay? I'm not gonna go that far. Let's be real. It's perfectly normal and valid to be a virgin, even if you are of an age that you would expect is not that where you think like, oh my god, I'm too old and I'm still a virgin. It's perfectly valid, okay? For whatever reason, don't say it's beautiful and natural as though I'm joking. I'm being very serious right now, okay? Because this is something that people are very insecure about. I have friends that are, this walk back is too cringe. This is not a fucking walk back, you absolute baboon. Shut the fuck up. I have friends who are adults that are my age that are still virgins, okay? For one reason or another. It's perfectly fine. But like seeking it out, okay? Seeking it out and being like, oh my god, like I have to have a partner that's a fucking virgin. I have to, my partner has to be a fucking virgin. It's like weird. It's just a thing. Okay? It's just a thing. It's just a thing. Like it's the lack of experience in one field should not be a primary determination. The fuck are you looking at? Like you're looking for someone who's a virgin? That's gross.
there are times when your virginity doesn't count.
Jesus, bro, you sure that's your dominant hand?
Men aren't lining up to date fat chicks. A dude will take an OnlyFans model with 100 bodies before he takes a fat chick. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
She loves to say that she doesn't make the rules, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she's doing here. You can literally watch her brain struggle to invent bullet points on the spot here, and none of it's planned. None of it's based in any underlying data, at least none that she cites here. It's all just whatever Pearl can think of off the top of her head.
Point number 3, your virginity doesn't count. If you're ugly. Oh yeah, I forgot.
Words are spilling out, but somehow nothing is being said.
Your virginity doesn't count if you're ugly, because if your girl's face looks like it was smashed in with a baseball bat, but she's a virgin, or would you rather you get a girl that's pretty hot, but you know, like 10, 20 bodies?
10 bloodies.
And that's what I'm saying. Your virginity, it's valuable, but it's not valuable if you're a whale or you're ugly.
At a certain point, it's just depressing to listen to. It's discouraging and untrue to think that if you're an older woman or you don't see yourself as conventionally attractive, then you're lost in the dating market. Why is that the message you want to put into the world?
Men value youth. Youth goes with purity. But if you're over a certain age, nobody's lining up for a 41-year-old virgin. If you're over the age of,
Should we give him 28? Men are starting to question what's wrong with you. Why are you a virgin at 30? If a dude is looking at you and saying this is a new BMW, or I could get a slightly used BMW for a lot lower price.
It's pretty funny because, like, she's saying your virginity doesn't count if you're a whale, you're ugly, you're old. And, like, depending on who you talk to, especially people in her audience, like, she hits all of those markers and she's not a fucking virgin. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? Why are you saying that? Why are you saying these things? Like, why are you owning yourself? It doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
With, you know, some mileage, but low mileage. Who are you picking?
Low mileage.
Low, right.
Because it's like the outside is pretty, but the inside is just yucky.
I'd be sad if someone like my sister was watching this and taking Pearl's words to heart here. And yeah, I mean, of course.
Okay, yeah, no women is watching fucking Pearl. It's only women that are misogynistic would much rather watch like a Kevin Samuels than someone like fucking JustPearlyThings. Okay? Women that are misogynistic are not going to be watching her. It's only fucking deeply insecure men that I guess want to diversify their content that will watch her.
By the end of it, she's comparing women to cars. Where have I heard that before?
Every single one of my cars, there is a scenario in which I prefer that car over the others. The same applies to women. Like, one bitch can cook. When you're hungry, you call that bitch. You want a blowjob, you call that bitch. You want a you call that bitch. The house needs cleaning, you call that bitch. But I don't want anyone to think I'm sexist or misogynist.
It obviously didn't take long for Pearl to grab the attention of the man who paved the way for her lucrative new business, cozying up with those who pioneered an industry of misogyny so airheads like Pearl could come along and steal the show by ripping all of their talking points, which in turn just boosted her reputation even more. Out of all of Pearl's podcast appearances though, the most controversial came when she brilliantly decided to bring self-described white nationalist and I guess now advocate for child grooming Nick Fuentes onto her show, The Pregame, which I haven't talked a lot about yet because it is so painstakingly boring.
Okay. What was I gonna... When do you notice a woman's looks start to fade?
The pregame usually just consists of Pearl dragging whatever random women she can find onto a panel and strong-arming them into agreeing with her takes. You can watch her physically preparing to jump down the throat of anyone who dares speak out against her. It's just such an unwelcoming format.
I wouldn't recommend for someone to stay in an abusive relationship. So if someone's been
Why is abusive the first thing that comes to your head?
Because I'm not saying
I don't know, because she's not going to say, I would not recommend women to stay in a happy and healthy relationship. That's why. If she's setting fucking boundaries and making commentary on what she thinks is like permissible and acceptable, why would she fucking say, watch this leftovers edit?
Fucking
Oh, this guy unblocked me.
I just ate so many fucking Oreos, so now I'm full of fucking Oreos. Let's fucking dock, dude.
What is that? I don't know what you mean.
Let's just start off by saying my penis is like
How does it even work?
I'll just announce some breaking news I saw right before we went.
Shut the fuck up.
Socialism is simply goated, you know what I mean?
I'm not even going to argue that. That's just common sense.
Did you hear what I said?
I did.
For sure.
Yeah. This is a good conversation we're having.
It's fucking nuts. Boom.
So I've been doing heroin.
Really?
So what?
What?
This is pretty funny. I like it. I'm fucking retweeting it. Honestly, that was the entire 3 hours right there. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's a pretty good recap. I respect Very Tall Bart. We used to be moots before my band. I don't know why this dingus fucking blocked me for some time and then unblocked me to make this.
saying
Bitch.
that's the first thing.
It's the
But
first thing you said.
Yeah, but I've known women that have left from relationships because of physical abuse.
Is that the
and
majority?
I can't really speak for the majority.
Mm-hmm. You think the majority of men are abusing women? You think that's probable?
Man, she didn't
What the fuck is this conversation? God, people are so fucking annoying.
even say that. Pearl hears what she wants to hear and doesn't settle for anything less than the absolute most generalized terms by diminishing nuance and forcing her guests to pick a side in the debate that demands far more depth than Pearl will allow.
It all depends on the person that you are. I
Okay,
mean, there's a
I'm
lot
gonna,
of people that
I'm gonna make one caveat. No, it depends. I'm banning it depends. I'm banning, like, we have to pick a side.
And if you dare step out of line.
I think what the lady is simply doing is trying to bring up the facts, and I agree that we should actually be holding men and women equally accountable, because we should be saying that there are men who should take responsibility.
I think if men...
No, Paul, let me finish.
No,
let me finish. I was speaking.
No,
we should
again,
be
it's not
holding
your...
men...
Okay, get out. Go, bye.
Why?
I told you no.
But that's just what usually happens. The episode with Nick Fuentes is a little different, given that she doesn't actually argue with him at all. In fact, she just offers his cretinous talking points about race mixing and slavery credibility by agreeing with him at times.
This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too, because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do, is they embellish, and I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible, it was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people.
So that was Pearl perpetuating the idea that slavery was embellished. But hold on, yeah, we'll get back to that. Throughout this 3-hour podcast, Pearl gives Nick the floor to share why he believes the Holocaust was also embellished, casually laughing along while he rattles off the various Jewish entities that he says want to control us or whatever. I'm not even sure how much I could play here, but at one point Nick refers to himself as a Holocaust revisionist while disputing the actual number of people killed in the genocide. So I think that's all you need to know. It was only after she received criticism, though, that Pearl strangely removed this interview from the face of her channel, along with issuing an apology.
I want to first say I take full accountability for everything that happened. Everything that happens in life, as I say to the girls on my show, is my own fault. The fact that people are making these videos is my own fault. And the situation that I'm in is my own fault.
Come on, Pearl, don't backpedal on me like this. You happily put this episode out into the world. Don't deprive us of it now because you got scared of the woke mob. Don't tell me you're scared, Pearl.
In between the time that we booked you to come on the show and you actually coming on the show, you had a guy called Nick Fuentes that you interviewed.
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah, you had him on, and then you took that interview down and apologized. So what happened with that whole thing?
Oh, I can't talk too much. There's like legal things going on.
There's legal things going on.
Yeah, there's not with Nick, but just but there's I have a video coming out about that whole thing. So
You do?
you guys have to wait for the video.
That video dropped a month later, where she seemed to issue a full retraction of her original apology, and instead opted to go even harder against her critics. But what led to such a sudden and massive change of heart, I wonder? She was willing to take accountability before realizing how beneficial it was to appease the audience of Nazi sympathizers she's garnered, reinforcing this new position a month later by calling Nick a nice guy, actually, and a great guest.
Nick, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. I think he's got some crazy opinions, but yeah, he was very nice on the show. And a lot of the stuff he was talking about, I didn't really know.
God, right wingers are such fucking cretins, dude. They're so gross, so fucking slimy, just despicable, just absolute fucking despicable, disgusting, fucking cretinous losers. Okay.
Have I studied the freaking Holocaust?
all I got.
No, I don't know.
Okay, but if you admit you aren't capable of pushing back against literal Holocaust denialism, then maybe don't have him on the show. I don't know. It's just something I thought of just now.
But I will say,
like that's it, dude. If you fucking push back and constantly find yourself duking it out with people who are progressive or ostensibly progressive that are silly enough to go on your dumbass show, and you have more rigid opinions on people being like, well, sometimes men do abuse their wives and therefore divorce should not be illegal, you have more anger towards that kind of sentiment than like a dude who is literally fucking denying the Holocaust, then you're basically denying the fucking Holocaust as well. Or at least it's not making you uncomfortable, okay? You're offering a platform to it. I'm sorry, it's bullshit, okay? It's fucking bullshit. Not only that, but I also personally believe that it's not even necessarily just the having a Holocaust denier and not giving pushback, but directly even cooperating, collaborating, like being in a friendly setting with people who are out and about fucking Nazis. No shot, dude. You're a bad person, okay? Not a good person. You're a fucking bad person.
I did not find Nick to be racist. My staff actually did not find him to be racist.
Okay, roll the clip.
I said to her that it wasn't a good idea having Nick Fuentes on there, and I said that he is a racist, bro.
I don't wish luck to racists.
Oh, I'm not racist.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Nick.
Yeah, I am a little bit racist.
So I did know that he was a known racist.
Anyway, what were you saying, bro?
And in fact, in your apology, you said that he said racist things.
Well, there's a video coming out about all of that. His argument is more about culture. It's easier if you date someone in your culture. She was like being a bit like combative to him, and to me, he was just like kidding.
Oh, he's just kidding. I forgot. Yeah, he's kidding. I mean, this is a guy who built his career railing against race mixing.
So it's like
Yeah, she's too stupid. He's too horny to constantly fucking give the game away. He has to always fucking do the snide little remarks, right? And he can't stop himself. That's a beautiful thing, is that Nazis can never fucking hide it for too long. They're like, I have to say it, right? So he always just fucking gives the game away and then tries to, at least he's like more rhetorically gifted than JustPearlyThings, which has nothing going on up here. But even then, he openly gets too horny to hide it. He always needs to reveal his power level exactly. She's too stupid to even defend the Nazi position. Like, she is way too fucking stupid to try and even. She's too dumb to even hide it. Like, she doesn't even know the talking points to be like, oh no, and that's why you watch her fumble here, going, actually, he's just culture. Like, shut the fuck up, idiot.
Have this line that goes all the way up to you, and then after, like, then your kids, grandkids, great grandkids, and then they're going to be like aliens.
But hasn't that always happened in history? Like they would kill. That's what they would do. They would kill the men and take the women and the children, and then they'd have kids with those women. So it's like,
yeah.
I'm not saying that.
Good comparison.
And your line of defense is that he was just kidding when he said this to your co-host.
Hey, the Italians don't claim you. You're the one dating a black guy. The Italians don't claim me. They don't claim you.
Incredible.
He was really polite. He showed up on time. My opinion is that he was polite overall. He was a good guest.
Now, as long as he was nice and showed up on time, I guess it's okay that he thinks slavery was embellished. Not a big deal, right?
He did a panel and he spoke about his opinions on race mixing, and a lot of people agreed with him.
Okay, but that doesn't change whether it's racist or not.
When he spoke about it on the show, it was more about culture than race.
This is another moment where I cannot tell if Pearl is.
She's trying to do. The more I watch this, the more I'm like, okay, I'm falling on the side of like she's just a fucking idiot, because she's trying and doing a very bad job of defending these positions, because like she's way too fucking stupid. Because she's doing it's just a culture. It's just a culture thing. And that in and of itself is, yeah, that's what like Ben Shapiro says. But also, Ben Shapiro, you will never catch him openly denying the Holocaust or some shit. Okay? So he at least has like the clout to make himself come across like he's the reasonable Republican and not a fucking open out and about white supremacist to at least normies who don't know what Ben is saying. But once you are defending someone like Nick Fuentes, the culture argument is gone out the door. You can't do that. Like, oh, he just means culture. It's like, no, he means race, dude. He's racist. He said he's racist.
Being dumb or disingenuous. If we look through Nick's career as a public figure, we see pretty plainly why he has an issue with dating outside of one's own race, and no, it doesn't have to do exclusively with culture.
He was also denying the Holocaust, from what I remember.
Look, I'm not with that.
Wow, what a wacky, silly guy. What a goofy little goober he is for denying the Holocaust on your show, Pearl. I feel like I'm slowly losing consciousness watching this interview. These guys are talking to her like she's in 3rd grade, and yet she still can't understand the gravity of endorsing a neo-Nazi to her fans. Plus, her comment sections on the clips that she hasn't taken down look like this, so you can't deny that Pearl is sending some people his way.
Well, what I'm a bit confused about is you did a whole apology, but it sounds like you're
stop asking me about this.
And this is all just another great example of Pearl having to reap what she sows. Sure, she has a lot of fun saying all these ridiculous things, but when it comes to actually being confronted by them in any meaningful way, well, that's where the cracks begin to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm always gonna fucking reinforce that perspective over and over again. Anybody that says you're a grifter, like you're grifting to the left, is a fucking idiot, okay? the level of talent required to be a relatively successful content creator on the right is nothing. Okay? It's nothing. You don't need anything up here. Okay? You don't need anything up here. You don't need to be charismatic. You don't need to be funny. You don't need to be thoughtful. You don't need to be empathetic. You don't need to have anything unique. You don't even need to be attractive. You know what I mean? You just need to be a talking point machine that isn't even all that good at saying the talking points. Okay? That's the best part about it, is that, like, she's not even fucking good at saying the talking points. She's bad. She's even bad at saying the fucking talking points. This is like a bricked up Bethesda NPC, dude. This is the most buggy Bethesda NPC conversation after you get off the fucking spaceship and, like, boom, right in your fucking face. And it's just like bringing up the dumbest talking points. And no, I don't mean bricked up in the trans term. I mean brick like as in broken. Okay? For the one trans chatter who immediately went, bricked up? No. I mean like broken. Like the GPU or the CPU is not working. Okay? Buggy.
Form. We saw it a bit during the course of this interview, but not to the extent as when she made the mistake of walking into the lion's den with Ethan Klein a couple months later.
Okay, can you hear me okay now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All good.
Okay, good. Yeah, we fixed it.
Bricked up in straight circles means you're rock hard, you're horny. Bricked up in trans circles means you're brick, like your masculine features as a trans woman are showing, kind of like that. Like not passing. That's what it means. Like you're getting clocked. I love when people embedded in trans culture use another trans term to describe another esoteric trans term by going, oh, it means you're clocky. You think a straight heterosexual cis guy is going to know what clocky is? They're going to be like, what? What does that mean? Oh, you know, like clocky.
Your feed looks good. You sound good. Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Ethan's approach is pretty effective in the sense that he stays calm and asks common sense questions that lead Pearl to expose the ridiculousness of her own arguments without him having to actually do much. Pearl's half-baked opinions kind of speak for themselves. Like her stance on divorce, which is so completely devoid of research and compassion that she's forced into conceding that, yeah, I guess one-sided physical abuse could warrant a divorce, but that's it. Divorce should otherwise be strictly illegal across the board in a just society. But obviously, even that position is complicated and stupid.
If it's one-sided physically abusive, okay, fine, divorce. We can allow divorce for those exceptions. But I've even talked to people that work at like abuse centers, and they say that the majority of abuse is mutual. So it's not just one side's hitting the other. It's like mutual. So
but it's not healthier either.
Mm-hmm. I just think that the goal should be to keep families together and that the goal should be to work through it.
Okay, but what if they can't? Do married couples really deserve to be locked into a situation that is actively hurting both of them? Would you really wish for your parents to stay together when they're physically and verbally demeaning each other in front of you every day? What good could ever possibly come from being forced to grow up around such a dangerous, vitriolic environment? Having to watch your parents constantly at each other's throat all because the government says that's the way it should be. If Pearl had her way, divorce would also be handled in criminal court as opposed to family court. But she again completely neglects the mental and logistical toll it takes for a mother or father to go through the arduous process of criminally charging the other parent of their kids. I'd wager that a lot of parents probably don't want to go through that extra headache when they're already juggling so much. But Pearl knows that, because as she tells Ethan, she'd rather strip every existing incentive there is to separate from your spouse, which really means she doesn't want single mothers getting support from the government after leaving a situation that wasn't good for them.
Well, I think you first have to get rid of incentives that incentivize like women to leave families. So, like, you know, for example, child support, alimony, I'm not really a fan of those.
She makes it clear that she wants as many legal hurdles as possible to discourage divorce, even when there is one-sided abuse happening. But Pearl lives in a fantasy world where wives are leaving their families in droves for financial gain, completely ignoring the copious number of studies that show, actually, most women on average end up in a worse financial position position after divorce compared to men.
The reason I think women leave more is because we're incentivized to do so to the point we're paid.
They're paying women to leave.
Again, if you're gonna say something so extreme, you better be ready to defend it. But as Pearl has shown time and time again, she just isn't able to do that.
But they want to make it like more horrible so that they can control people.
So, in what way was slavery made to seem more horrible than it was?
We were talking about, and I don't really want to go into this too much.
Yeah, I bet you fucking don't. But just wait though, because Ethan doesn't let up, twisting the knife and forcing her to confront her own statements on slavery.
Oh, so do you agree with that premise that slavery was embellished, or no?
I think that there are parts that are under embellished and there are parts that are over embellished. I think it just depends what we're talking about.
That's so interesting. I've got to know.
Dude, it's such a fucking idiotic way to try and argue just like an position that is just like optically speaking impossible to argue against and morally abhorrent in general. You know what I mean? Like, even if you were, like, a bad person and you legitimately thought, like, you wanted to defend the historical violence of chattel slavery, okay? Like, it would be a very difficult task, okay? It would be a very difficult undertaking, and she is very bad at this in general.
What was over-embellished about slavery? Just, like, one example. I'm dying to know.
You can just feel the tension in the air. Pearl has got to be regretting every life choice she's made up until this moment. I mean, just look at her face and look at Ethan's face. He knows he got her. Pearl squirms around the question a bit longer, trying to get out of it by pivoting to the book she read.
It's like, first of all, she did not read any of those books, but this is like when like a debate lord's fans come in here and try to argue on the same terms. You know what I mean? And the same goes for even my fans. Like if you went and like tried to repeat my talking points at without doing like additional research on your own, and you're not particularly rhetorically skilled, you're gonna get owned by like the average neoliberal. You know what I mean? Because they know the talking points better. They're more rhetorically skilled. You know what I mean? And Pearl on this issue is supposed to at least be a little bit better because, you know, she is a professional commentator. Nobody reads Thomas Sowell except for Clarence Thomas. Yeah, you got to be real weird. Got to be a real fucking weirdo to like read Thomas Sowell cover to cover.
Yeah, I just rather, I mean, I was talking about a book that I read.
But unable to wiggle out of the hole she dug for herself, she resorts to calling foul play in a desperate move to make Ethan seem disingenuous, when in reality all he's done is use her own words against her.
I'd rather not get into this, so I'd really just rather not.
Okay. No, but slavery being embellished, that's so interesting.
There are certain facts that we're not allowed to talk about.
Like what?
Yeah. I was kind of hoping this was like a good faith interview.
Okay, she just said parts of slavery were over embellished in this very discussion. The only person she has to blame here is herself. Ethan is apparently acting in such bad faith that he literally gives her an opportunity to disavow what she just said. And even then, she can't do it. She can't do it. I don't know why.
Just disavow it then. Just say, I don't think slavery was embellished. I mean, that's super easy. That's like a layup. Do you agree? You know what I mean?
I think there are certain facts that you're not allowed to talk about. I don't really want to talk about it today. Again, there are certain facts you're not allowed to talk about, and I don't really feel like getting into it today.
She can't simply admit that slavery wasn't over-embellished because she's a pandering hack who has to rely on the support of socially inept, brain-dead anti-Semites who will drop her the second it becomes convenient. That's why she's so careful with her words here. It's pathetic.
I'm communicating in the interview that I'm quoting an author.
Thomas Sowell compared Barack Obama to Adolf Hitler. Do you like that analogy? That's the author you're quoting.
Every time she tries to deflect to Thomas Sowell, there's a litany of things he has written that you can use as an example to describe.
Yeah, I mean, he is the worst. By the way, it is really fucking wild that this man was the reason, this man and his books radicalized Supreme Court of the United States Justice Clarence Thomas. Just think about that. I try not to all the time, but you know, sometimes it just like pops up in my head and it frustrates me and scares me. But yes, this is the man who Clarence Thomas read and was immediately captivated by.
Credit him. So even when Pearl is trying to shirk accountability, she still gets questioned for even listening to this guy in the first place.
You also said George Washington was viewed from his slaves like a father. Did you say that?
I don't remember.
I
think like if someone's a great and powerful man in history to the point like they're talking about him hundreds of years later.
Did he own slaves? George Washington.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, not a real man to me. I'm just saying.
No, his slaves actually, like, he had a really good relationship with them, and they considered him like a dad. I used to read actual slave.
I remember this happening in real time. It still fucking freaks me out. Such a stupid thing to say. Dude, you said that to a black person, too. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, gross, dude. Gross. What an indefensible, irredeemable, idiotic, incredibly white supremacist thing to say. Oh, the George Washington, yeah, he owned slaves, but like I heard he was real nice to his slaves. First of all, that's also ahistoric. A fun fact that I always like to mention whenever people come in here with like some bullshit about George Washington because they've gotten American schooling where they go, oh my God, it's actually, you know, George Washington was really good to his slaves or whatever the fuck is like that's how they teach it in fucking school because the audacity, okay? But no, he was not good to his slaves. First of all, you can't be good to your slaves. The best thing to do to your slaves is free them, okay? That's number one, which George Washington conveniently didn't do. And not only did he conveniently not do that, at the time, there were laws against ownership of black people over an extended period of time in the states that George Washington was in. So he would deliberately cycle his slaves outside of the state between, I believe, Pennsylvania and D.C. or Pennsylvania, yeah, where he would routinely cycle them out of Pennsylvania every 6 months, specifically so, or not D.C., fucking Virginia, every 6 months or so that he could turn around and keep them. Okay? So not only that, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington was from VA, Philly was the capital. Not only that, this shows that he was not nice to his slaves because he didn't do the one thing that you could do to, you know, be nice to your slaves, which is free them. Okay? But that also shows that at the fucking time period, there were laws against that sort of thing, also betraying the second thing that people always say, which is people just simply didn't understand how immoral it was to own slaves. No, they did. That's why they had rules. Like rules towards abolition. That's why they did know it was bad. It's just they knew it was bad, but they didn't give a fuck. George Washington was one of those people who knew it was bad and didn't give a fuck.
Accounts, and I was surprised how many didn't say bad things about their owners after they were free.
It's got to be so fun being Pearl, to just consume a bunch of writings and not consider the broader context of them whatsoever. If only we had a term to describe what happens when those kept hostage develop a sort of bond with the people keeping them in captivity. If only there was an explanation for that concept.
Stockholm Syndrome played a thing. This girl's really trying to sit here and say like, yo, a lot of slaves actually love their masters because in a really fucked up psychological way, they had to learn to be able to endure.
To be able to survive. You know, the thing that you want to do for beat up women in their relationship, endure.
I mean, Ethan touches on this, but what would even be the point of bringing this up in the first place, other than to downplay the severity of slavery? People have a right to be disgusted by that, Pearl.
I thought we were not talking about the issues.
They are trying to talk about the issues, and ironically, you don't want to talk about what parts of slavery were embellished. You can't go into the details, probably because you know how bad it would make you look. And that doesn't mean Ethan is being disingenuous. He's trying to get to the point of what you believe, and you aren't letting him because you're a cowardly grifter at heart. This exchange is a prime example of how Pearl cannot stand the heat from her own provocative statements, which is precisely why she will not last very long in this industry. She already isn't taken seriously by those she's attempting to win over, and in the red pill community, there are no half measures. You either go all the way or you don't go anywhere. Interviewing Fuentes only to take it down and apologize isn't helping her, and then being too sheepish and embarrassed to defend herself on Ethan's show only exposes her as more of a charlatan. All she does is say things to rile people up, and I personally can't tell how much of it she believes and how much of it is.
Okay, I have to go. I can't finish this and do more content tomorrow as well. I'm sorry for no Cyberpunk because yeah, I saw Russell Brand claim Ethan's show. I gotta hang out with my mom.